traffic, and weather station.
9 o'clock at KSL News Radio. I'm Andy Farnsworth. KSL's top story this hour. A new report from the Gardner Institute reveals that just over a quarter of Utah's budget last year came from federal funding. That amount was $7 billion. Chief economist Phil Dean explains how that money was spent.
Medicaid makes up half of that. And then the rest of it's broken up between programs like other social services besides Medicaid, education, transportation.
When it comes to reliance on federal funds, Utah ranks 37th among all states. Our top national story this hour from ABC News. The Republican-led government funding bill passed the House last night after President Trump personally spoke with several Republican holdouts. The bill now heads to the Senate, where it will have to have some Democratic support if it's going to pass and prevent a government shutdown.
President Trump has a much different relationship with Congress than he did in his first term. He was new to Washington back then. He knew some of these members, but not like this. Now President Trump has fundraised for a lot of these members. He's handpicked a lot of these members. He's endorsed a lot of these members, and he has a lot of their cell phone numbers and vice versa. And he has shown he will get on the phone with you and get into, at times, a pretty heated conversation if you're holding up what he wants out of Congress.
ABC's Jay O'Brien reporting from Washington. Your money at this moment, the Dow's down 342 points this morning. That's 0.8% to 41,091. Coming up, we still have a few slow spots to deal with, but beautiful weather on tap for today. Traffic and weather together is next. KSL News Time, 9:01.
A reminder about the simplest way to get updated for your day.
Hit your KSL preset when you jump in the car, and we'll take care of the rest.
Hear key news updates and traffic reports.
Andy and Amanda from 5 to 9 in your car.
KSL News Radio at 102.7 FM.
Discover the timeless value at Duke's Jewelers, a local treasure since 1948. Whether you're searching for a unique engagement ring or need expert watch repair, Duke's has been serving the community for over 75 years. It's the perfect time to visit and explore the wide selection of custom designs and quality gemstones. The skilled designers at Duke's can bring your dream piece to life, while experienced jewelers handle repairs and modifications in-house. Duke's Jewelers takes pride in value pricing, ensuring you receive the best prices every day. Need an appraisal? The Duke's Jewelers AGS certified gemologist is here to help. Whether it's hand or machine engraving, or redesigning old favorites into something new, get personalized service for every occasion. Visit Duke's Jewelers and experience the difference of locally operated expertise and dedication. Duke's Jewelers in Springfield, Utah.
Do you suffer from depression? The Department of Psychiatry at the University of Utah is currently seeking people between the ages of 18 and 65 who have depression to take part in a comprehensive treatment study. The goal of this study is to see if 2 naturally occurring supplements will improve depression in people living at higher altitudes. Participants will take the supplements for 8 weeks, and the study lasts 12 weeks in total. Participants must already be taking an SSRI or an SNRI medication for at least 8 weeks. Compensation will be provided to study participants. Again, if you are between the ages of 18 and 65 and suffer from depression that hasn't responded to usual antidepressants, the University of Utah is conducting a study that may help. For more information or to take part, please call 801-581-3475 or visit altitudedepressionstudy.com. That's 801-581-3475. or altitudedepressionstudy.com.
Do you have some money in a savings account? If you do, I want to suggest that you earn more money on that money by transferring your savings account over to UCCU.
Utah Community Credit Union is offering high-rate savings options with yields up to 5.05%. That is a lot higher than any savings account.
Right, so your average savings account is 0.5%, 0.5%, but UCCU has these 9-month savings certificates at a whopping 5.05% rate of return.
Now, savings certificates, like a savings account, they're great ways to earn a safe return on your money, but the difference is a savings account, you deposit, you withdraw, but with a savings certificate, you just make the deposit and you let your money earn some money for you.
You're going to be saving so much money at UCCU.
5.05%, that's more than 5 times higher than a standard savings account.
Just go to uccu.com, select a high-yield savings option, and supercharge your savings.
At Utah Community Credit Union, you're going to love where you bank. Traffic and weather together brought to you by Mountain America's low-rate auto loans. Let's check in with Heather Kelly.
I-15 has our slowest traffic right now as you make your way between Sandy and Midvale and Murray, both directions of I-15. So northbounders will see that just after 90th South up to 53rd South and Murray, and southbounders will see that between 53rd South and Murray and 90th South and Sandy. And then if you continue northbound I-15, you're going to see a bit more slowdowns between I-80 and downtown Salt Lake City. With IFA's Crabgrass Preventer Plus Lawn Food, you'll stop those pesky weeds before they even start. It's the ultimate lawn owner power move. Heather Kelly in the KSL Traffic Center.
KSL weather now. Today will be another warm spring day with partly cloudy skies and a light breeze. Highs in the mid-60s. Right now, it's not quite that warm, 46 degrees and fair in Salt Lake City. I'm Andy Farnsworth from the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios. Listen online at kslnewsradio.com. We're Utah's news, traffic, and weather station.
Dave and Dujanovic, your morning companions for talk, analysis, and key perspectives on Utah's biggest stories. On KSL News Radio, Dave and Dujanovic, special coverage of the top national story.
If you're one of the 15, 16 million adults in the United States who have injected themselves with a shot in order to lose weight, listen up. Even if you know somebody who's been doing that, you want to listen up because Dave is growing more and more worried that you're going to be priced out of these injectable weight loss drugs because of what has gone on with some of the drug manufacturers and the FDA, and we're going to dive into it. We're also going to take your phone calls in just a minute to ask you questions like, how much do you pay right now? And when would you be priced out? At what price point would you no longer be able to afford to inject yourself with one of these weight loss drugs?
This is something that has been so incredibly popular, these weight loss injections. Some estimates, the CDC thinks that there's probably more than 15 million Americans right now that are using these weight loss drugs. Now, you may see these advertised on TV. Now, there's a couple different things. Sometimes you'll see them, hey, you need this prescription from a doctor. Others, like the company Hims or Hers, that's the one that I've most recently seen on TV, they're offering these injectables for about $170 a month.
Okay.
Well, if you do the name brand stuff, so Wegovy is a very popular one. What's the other one? Zepbound. Yeah. That's another popular weight loss drug. Those can be over $1,000 a month. So you may be wondering, well, how's one cost $1,000 and another cost $170? Well, it's because they had such an incredible shortage of these weight loss drugs, the name brand ones. They just couldn't produce enough. So the FDA allows what's called compounding. So they allow other manufacturers to start producing their own version, and they've been producing it for a fraction of the cost.
So what is your worry about this, Dave? If the price goes up, are you afraid that people are going to be priced out of being able to take these shots to lose weight or keep the weight off that they've already lost?
Part of what is so frustrating about this is if you do start off, say, $170 a month,
right,
and you're losing all this weight, we know these injections have to continue to maintain the weight loss. That's one of the little caveats about these drugs is as soon as you stop the injections, it's very likely that you will gain this weight back. So whenever you start taking them, you've got to take it for a long term. You got to take it for a long time. So if they get you in at $170 a month, and then they cut it off and they say, oh, you can't get it for $170 anymore. Now it's going to cost you $1,000. Well, who can afford $1,000 a month?
Okay, so your concern is at this price because of what is happening behind the scenes between the FDA, the drug manufacturers, and I think a lot of people don't probably realize that they are getting this drug for $179 a month. It could be because it's being compounded under a rule that went into effect a couple of years ago because there was a drug shortage. And under this rule, the FDA rule, when there's a drug shortage, other like pharmacies can step in and start compounding. Well, it makes the drug potentially cheaper. Well, now that there's no longer a shortage, according to the FDA, the manufacturer themselves can, now supply the drug once again, which that is the reason why it could drive up the cost. But I also want to turn to ABC News' chief medical correspondent, Dr. Tara Narula, because I think this is a really complex concept to kind of digest. And she's going to explain what patients need to know that is going on right now behind the scenes that could affect you in just a couple of days, quite frankly. They're reporting that these prices could go up in the next couple of days, maybe even as late as April. So you might have a little bit of time to look into this with your doctor.
So when a drug is in short supply, the FDA allows these compounding pharmacies to essentially create copycat drugs. But when the drug companies say, we are able to meet the demand, then those compounding pharmacies can no longer sell those drugs on the market. So when we talk about drugs like Wegovy or Mounjaro or Zepbound or Ozempic, these drugs we know have been listed in short supply for the last several years, since 2022. But now the drug companies say we can provide what you need. And so the FDA has basically put an end to the compound pharmacies being able to sell these drugs, and they gave a date. So for state licensed pharmacies, that has to end immediately. When it comes to Zepbound, for outside larger licensing facilities, they have until about March 19th. When it comes to Wegovy, the end for state licensed pharmacies is April of next month, and then the end April 22nd. For outside facilities or larger facilities is May 22nd. So, you know, this is all going to affect people who are getting these drugs, usually at a much lower cost and much easier to find.
But what if these people are already taking these compound meds? What do you recommend for that?
Yeah, exactly. So they need to really reach out at this point in time to their healthcare provider or their doctor and ask, you know, for a prescription for the branded drug, and then really look into how they're going to be able to get it and afford it, whether that's through insurance or through outside coupons or what kind of options there are. But, you know, it's important to understand compounded drugs are not generic drugs. They are not FDA approved drugs, so they don't undergo the same testing for quality, safety, or effectiveness. And there can be issues with impurities, with sterility. You don't know if you're getting the right active amount of drug. Is there too much of it, or is there not enough of it in there? So, you know, it is really important to try to get that branded drug, but for a lot of people it is an issue, and it has been, of cost and accessibility.
GLP-1, what is it about this drug?
It's a huge phenomenon. I mean, I see so many patients that are on them. They've really, you know, been able to change their life, and it's been really a remarkable ability for them to kind of reduce both their cardiovascular risk, reduce their weight, but so many Americans are interested in them or taking them now.
Yeah, and using them for different reasons.
Exactly.
All right.
And if you are using it for weight loss, here's what I think you need to know about how this is going to affect your pocketbook. You might be paying a couple of $100s a month. Maybe you're paying a little bit more than that, but it's at least something that you can stretch your budget to afford. Under what is happening right now, under this new way that this will be marketed and sold because of this, you know, this FDA situation that they're now saying it's no longer in shortage, that the manufacturer can now deliver enough supply to Americans to buy it, you may be paying a lot more for that. And it could happen pretty quickly, maybe in the next few days, few weeks, maybe the next month. So it could go from, by way of example, let's say you're paying $250 a month and you don't have insurance to cover this for weight loss. Okay, your insurance just won't bite into that with you, and you're paying out of pocket. According to GoodRx, I just looked this up this morning, if you're paying out of pocket, it could cost you as much as $1,300 a month. Again, these are broad examples. That might not be your situation. But at what point do you get priced out of being able to afford the shot as a form of weight loss? To help with your weight loss journey, we're going to take live calls in just a few minutes. 801-575-TALK. I'm curious, how much are you paying a month right now if you're getting that compounded formula? And how much are you willing to pay to stay on this as a form of weight loss? What price point are you just priced out and you're like, I'm out. I got to figure out another diet plan. 801-575-TALK, 801-575-TALK. Look, there's 15.5 million Americans, it's estimated, Dave, who are on this drug. I'm sure plenty of folks who listen to us every single day have a lot to say about how this has impacted their lives.
And obviously, if you've got 15 million Americans, you're seeing incredible success. But when this first started off, it was Hollywood. The rumblings started in Hollywood, and it was the actors that we were seeing dramatic weight loss from people that already are largely fit. But what was happening is they were buying these drugs, and they could afford the $1,000 or $1,500 a month right? So this was very much a rich person's problem, right? Is you could afford it if you could throw enough money at it. But then when all of these compounds started to become available because there were massive shortages, then all of a sudden it became attainable for regular people. And regular people started getting on these medications and these drugs, and they were seeing similar results where they're losing all this weight, but they're doing it at a tenth of the cost that Hollywood was paying for. So Oprah has talked about that. She has been on these GLP-1s. She talks about the success of it and how great it's been. But now it has become not just available to the billionaires, but to just regular people like us.
So you worry about the regular people.
That's who's going to pay the cost, right? You're always going to have the rich and the famous and the beautiful that are going to be able to afford the $1,000 a month or the $1,500 a month. But there's not 15 million Americans that are Hollywood stars that can afford this. So where I think is so unfair about this, it almost feels like a bait and switch. Hey, they've said for years, once you get on these injectables, you probably need to stay on the injectables for as long as you want to keep the weight off. Because research has shown as soon as you stop taking these injectables, these medications, then you gain the weight back. So this is not just, hey, I want to lose some weight for a year, get back on. No, you'll gain the weight back. So you get them addicted, and quite frankly, you get addicted to the weight loss and how good you're feeling when you lose all this weight, and then you jack up the price. I mean, this is like corner drug dealer kind of mentality where they get you hooked on it, and then they jack up the price, and then you have to make this huge sacrifice, or you're cutting it off, and then you lose all these benefits. There was not a disclosure of why these were so affordable compared to the name brand stuff.
So you don't think that people knew?
No.
That this could be a potential.
That it could go away any moment?
It could go, the price could go up.
No
don't
idea.
Think people knew getting into this. So if they were getting into it for a couple $100 a month, then they turn around and find out that this is going away and the price could go up. We don't know, but to more than $1,000 a month, they might have made a different decision.
Exactly. Yeah, you very well could have made a different decision. If you're talking about spending $150 or $180 a month versus $1,500 a month, that is a completely different conversation, right? And now we are looking at having to reach out and talk to our doctor, talk to our insurance company, see if they will cover these name brand medications.
Many of them don't.
Many of them don't. Or they only will cover a portion. I looked into this a couple years ago. I was curious of when this first started, and the insurance company covered it, but it was, I think, $1,200 without insurance, and it was $800 with insurance. So still extremely expensive.
I want to remind our listeners, we're taking live phone calls, 801-575-TALK. How much you paying a month for this stuff? What are you paying? Is it $50, $100, $200 a month? 801-575-TALK. We want you to weigh in because it does appear that the price is going to be going up, and it could go up as much as 4 times. If you just look at the price points online without insurance, these injectable drugs can be $1,000, $1,300 a month if your insurance doesn't cover it for weight loss specifically. 801-575-TALK. Are you getting a deal on it right now? Because I'd love to hear about it. And what are you going to do about it? Are you going to keep on it? Or are you priced out at some point? Once it hits $1,000 a month, you're like, I just can no longer afford it. I want to talk more, though, about what these drugs have accomplished with people who are losing or trying to lose weight and are on them. The first thing it does, and we know this from a documentary that you and I produced a couple of years ago, specifically when these kind of came onto the market, were super hot at the time. We were like, what is this? What is this phenomenon that's going on? So you and I looked into it. We recorded an hour-long special about these weight loss drugs, or these drugs that are also used. They're used for diabetes, but also for weight loss. And the one thing we learned is it takes away the food noise, right? So that craving you have on your way home from work, it says like, what am I going to snack on when I get home? What's in the pantry? I wonder if there's anything. I wonder if my kids ate up all that leftover chili from last night. All that food noise that you're hearing in your head all day long, that the drug takes that away, right? The drug takes that away. So you get rid of the food noise. Now you're not having the cravings. We've heard from people who say they have to remember to eat. They have to set a reminder to remember to eat because they just aren't feeling that hunger. And then additionally, when you do eat, it slows down your digestive system and like the release of insulin. So you feel full faster.
Yeah, and you stay full longer. And it's been so effective in shutting off some of that food noise. They've even seen it be an effective treatment, an effective drug for those that are struggling with alcohol and drug issues. That reduction of food noise does the same thing for the drugs. There's a reduction in drug noise or alcohol noise as well. So it has been extremely popular. It has been extremely effective. Like, there's no question. You can lose, on average, up to 15% of your weight. So, that could be 30, 45 pounds. And I think the drugs have gained so much popularity, and we saw just this mass demand for it. In the defense of some of these big pharmaceutical companies, they had to ramp up production. They couldn't keep up with it. That's why all these compounding pharmacies popped up. But now that they've invested in the infrastructure, they invested in production costs, the big name pharmaceuticals, Wegovy, what's the other one? Ozempic, Zepbound.
Yeah.
They ramped up. They're making enough. Now they're like, well, we're making enough. This is our product. They should be buying it from us.
We'll sell it. Okay, Amy, you're on Mounjaro for diabetes, and your husband's also taking a compound. How's that working for him, and how much do you pay for his?
Okay, so we paid $700. That was supposed to basically be a month or 2 months, depending on how much of a dose he took. It's a compound, and he hasn't lost any weight. He's been on it for a month. Hasn't lost any weight.
Has he modified his diet along with the shot?
Yes, and he had modified it even prior to that and was having no luck. And the reason he decided to try the compound is because I was diagnosed a year ago with diabetes, and so our insurance covers Mounjaro 100%. Every month, like when I pick up my prescription, it says your insurance saved you $1,289 a month. So I don't pay anything for mine, and I lost 80 pounds in like 7 months. I have a lot of weight to lose, so it's been effective and life-changing for me. And we thought, well, okay, let's give it a try. My niece was actually on the same compound through the same company, and she's been really successful, but he has had no luck with it. It hasn't even helped for the cost.
So is he planning on staying on it then?
Well, we're thinking probably not, because with the problem with the compound is you don't have any guaranteed consistency with how the prescription is formulated or mixed. And so he maybe just got a bad batch, like that just isn't effective, but for the price, it's not worth it, we don't think.
Amy, thank you so much for sharing your story on this. That was one of the concerns that the FDA has. One of the reasons they have shown concerns about these compounds is they say that these compounds don't go through the rigorous testing that the FDA requires of these semaglutides. That may affect its safety, its effectiveness, and quality. That's according to the FDA. So I do find it interesting that you've found such incredible success on Mounjaro, losing 80 pounds. Your husband is on the compound and hasn't lost anything.
Yeah. I mean, we don't know why. Amy brought up the point that maybe the way it was compounded isn't working for him. There's no way to know for sure on that. It could just be body type. It could be any number of reasons, but $700 invested so far, and if you're not seeing results, if the price and when and if, I guess it's more like when the price goes up, it may not be worth it for them to continue down that road. Straight ahead, kind of feels like a throwback to the blockbuster movie Footloose, this next story. As a college football coach out there is banning his players from dancing. Says no dances. At least not on a popular social media platform, TikTok. Can't dance on TikTok. But I was really astounded at the coach's reason for why he's banning his football players from dancing. That story.
I thought this was a party. Let's dance!
Is next.
Dave and Dujanovic. Are you asking for Dave and Debbie everywhere?
Just say, Alexa, play KSL News Radio.
And stream them on your phone. The KSL News Radio app.
If you need a garage door guy, well, I got it for you. Don't worry about it. Advanced Garage Doors, they can help you 24/7 with same-day service.
That's right. That's awesome because the garage door never breaks when the time is convenient. So,
never.
That's why Advanced Garage Door offers this 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, same-day service. So you can just give them a call, let them know you need help, and they'll come out and give you help.
One of the things I love about Advanced Garage Door with their certified technicians, I remember I had a spring break in my garage door years ago, and I tried to repair it myself, and I learned I should not be doing this myself. I should have a certified technician doing this, a professional that is handling this, because it can be extremely dangerous. Some things are just left best to the professionals, and that's why I will definitely call Advanced Garage Doors.
And keep in mind, they offer that lifetime warranty on all residential doors and parts. So you will have that peace of mind knowing that your garage door is always protected, as long as you follow their recommendations, of course.
And if you use Advanced Garage Door, that's going to include a free inspection and tune-up once a year. I've never, ever thought about a tune-up for my garage door, but it makes total sense. Go ahead and reach out to them online, advanced-door.com. That's advanced-door.com.
Or you can call them, and that phone number is 801-989-3667. Again, 801-989-DOOR.
Hi, I'm Utah tax attorney Jordan Wilcox. In these trying times, when inflation is out of control and our paychecks give us less and less money to support our families, the last thing any of us can afford is for the IRS to garnish wages, levy bank accounts, or seize assets. It's important now more than ever to protect your financial security.
We have reduced our tax liability by over $42,000.
$66,300.
Let us safeguard you. Visit endtaxworry.com. We have saved countless taxpayers like you millions of dollars, kept businesses in operation, and ensured that our clients receive the best possible outcome.
Nearly $65,000.
$12,000 is something that you can look at and say, okay, I can handle that.
I'm Jordan Wilcox, your Utah tax attorney. You work hard for your money. Let us work hard for you. Visit endtaxworry.com.
We're very grateful.
At Golden Rule Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling, our golden opportunity is back. The free furnace promotion is here and just in time for tax return season, and this time it's even better. Our free furnace promotion on any complete system replacement now includes no payments for 1 year. Free furnace, no payments. Now that's the Golden Rule. Visit goldenrulephc.com today.
We obey the rules to live by. Golden Rule Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling.
Utah's largest sportsman's expo for the entire family is back March 20th through 23rd at Mountain America Expo Center. Buy the latest gear, learn from the experts in fishing, hunting, and camping. This is the place to discover your next adventure, nearby or around the world. Your life outdoors at the International Sportsman's Expo, March 20th through 23rd at Mountain America Expo Center in Sandy. Youth 15 and under enter free. More info at sportsexpos.com.
Spring fever has arrived, and Paris RV has the spring deals waiting. Snag the Rockwood 1940 LTD for only $9,995 or $161 per month, zero down. Or load up the Tykes or Friends and hook up to the 2025 Open Range 177 BH Bunkhouse for $14,995 or $171 per month, zero down. Or slide that Kingpin into the hitch of the 2025 Voltage V-Series 3600 fifth wheel with a 14-foot garage for only $76,995 or $623 per month and 10% down.
For Utah's best selection, come see me at Paris RV.
Paris RV is your locally owned, family-run RV dealership. We strive hard to find the very best RVs for the price. With 4 locations, over 1,000 RVs in stock, 42 service bays, and 4 super parts stores, we're sure to help take your family on the best RV vacation. Check out our perfect family bunkhouse trailer, the 26BH. That sleeps 9 for $19,995 or $227 a month. Zero down. Life is short. Enjoy it. North Murray, South Murray, Payson, and Pocatello. ParisRV.com.
Dave and Dujanovic.
If you're driving to work or you're driving the kids to a soccer game, we're your in-car companions.
People will come up to me and say, "Oh, I talk to you every day." You don't realize it because I'm talking at the radio, but I talk to you every day.
Listen for Dave and Dujanovic 9 to noon on KSL News Radio.
9:30 at KSL News Radio. I'm Andy Farnsworth. KSL's top story this hour. Governor Spencer Cox will be visiting the Utah Food Bank this morning to offer the first donation to the Feed Utah Food Drive. The food bank is partnering with the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, Macy's Grocery, and several other groups to gather the food. The food bank is asking all of us to place a bag of non-perishable food outside our front doors early Saturday morning, where volunteers will pick them up. The donations will provide food for the 415,000 Utahns who face hunger. A glitch in the ACT testing system delayed the start of the test for some Utah high school students.
Once they're able to log into the process, there are no issues that way. There were some issues just logging into the system.
Tooele School District Communications Director Brett Valdez says the glitch only delayed the start of the tests for a few minutes, but he says he heard of other places where they were delayed for nearly half an hour. Our top national story this hour from ABC News. The latest inflation report is out today, and it slightly exceeded expectations. According to the Consumer Price Index, inflation is up 2.8% from last year, with prices on grocery items holding steady. But other areas kept seeing price increases, including housing.
Where we are starting to see some of the impact of tariffs, in particular tariffs on China, is in clothing prices, which were up, and household furnishings. Other areas that saw increases in prices last month: electricity, used cars, and medical services, and shelter costs continue to be a pressure on Americans and their budget.
ABC's Rebecca Jarvis reporting. Your money at this moment, the Dow down 219 points this morning to 41,223. Coming up, this warm weather continues today, but it goes away by tomorrow. KSL weather's next. KSL News Time 9:32.
The sources where we get our news matters.
When you listen to Utah's Morning News, we want you to feel the stories are important to you and trustworthy. This is Amanda Dixon.
And I'm Andy Farnsworth. Join us weekday mornings on KSL News Radio.
What's up, everybody? I'm Mike Wilson with Any Hour Services, and it's time once again for our free furnace sale, where you buy a new air conditioner and we give you a new furnace for just the cost to install it. About $400. The furnace is free. You just pay the labor. And here's the best part. There's up to $5,600 in rebates and tax incentives available right now that can help you stack even more savings on top of this already amazing deal. So if you've been thinking about replacing your old furnace and air conditioner, don't miss this opportunity to offset the cost by using someone else's money. To learn more, all you have to do is contact Any Hour Services and schedule a free estimate. One of our HVAC supervisors will come to your home, show you exactly how much you can save with our free furnace sale, and walk you through how to collect every dollar of rebate incentives your new system qualifies for. We even have a rebate support specialist to help you if you have questions. If you think you might be interested, call Any Hour Services at 801-443-7400. Google Any Hour Services or schedule a free estimate online at anyhourservices.com. No one helps more homeowners than Any Hour Services.
Time for a check of traffic and weather together on KSL, brought to you by Mountain America's low-rate auto loans. Let's go to the KSL Traffic Center with Heather Kelly.
Looks like we're back to freeway speeds pretty much everywhere. You may see just a little bit of congestion on some of the roadways like Bangerter Highway, where we have road construction zones, and also Mountain View Corridor. It's always a difficult issue getting across 3500 South and West Valley. But other than that, we don't have any accidents reported. Traffic, again, mostly at speed on the freeways and not too many issues on city streets. Make your someday today. Start your dream kitchen or bath at Bedrock Quartz with 18 months 0% financing. Visit one of 7 Utah showrooms near you today or bedrockquartz.com. Heather Kelly in the KSL Traffic Center.
KSL weather. Today will be another warm spring day with partly cloudy skies and a light breeze. Highs in the 60s. Right now, it is 46 degrees in Salt Lake City, 44 degrees in Ogden, 43 degrees in Provo with fair skies. I'm Andy Farnsworth from the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios. Listen online at kslnewsradio.com. We're Utah's news, traffic, and weather station.
Dave and Dujanovic, your morning companions for talk, analysis, and key perspectives on Utah's biggest stories on KSL News Radio.
This story feels like a throwback to the 1984 blockbuster Footloose, which, by the way, was filmed right here in Utah. But in this case, this 2025 college football coach is banning his players from dancing. At least no dancing on the popular social media platform TikTok. I couldn't help but be astounded about his reason why. But yeah, this has Footloose written all over it. No dancing, right? Until the kids banded together and said, "We're dancing."
Now I gotta cut loose, Footloose, kicked off the Sunday shoes.
What do you think of this college football player telling his players
coach?
No dancing on TikTok?
One thing I've learned about college football coaches and coaches in general, there's no detail too small for them to obsess about. It does not surprise me at all that of all the things he cares about, TikTok dancing registers. It seems silly to you and me, but college coaches care about every single detail. So am I surprised? No. The reasoning? Not really either, because unlike Footloose, he's not banning it because he finds dancing sinful. That was the problem with Footloose, but he just doesn't think it makes his football players look tough.
Yeah, I'll tell you what ESPN says about that. ESPN.com says about that in more in depth in just a moment. But as for me, when I read this story, the first thing I thought about was the football players are going to revolt, right?
I thought this was a party. Let's dance.
And they spend so much time on the field, working hard every day during practices, trying to win for the coach, trying to do what's right for the team, and then they're told, of all things, you cannot dance on TikTok. Really? This is where this is the hill the coach is going to die on, Dave? This is the hill? So, I guess they can, go out and dance in public if they wanted to, like at a nightclub maybe, I guess.
Right, yeah.
But they just cannot dance on TikTok. And the reason is, according to ESPN.com, he wants to maintain a, quote, hard edge for his program, and that players dancing in tights on TikTok does not project the image he wants for the team. Really? Players dancing in tights on TikTok does not project the image he wants for the team. I feel like, the 1950s are calling, sir. They're calling you about your TikTok ban. This is the era we're in right now, where the youth is dancing online. Some of them are making money at it. Some of them are doing it as an out. Actually, I will doom scroll TikTok sometimes, and I will stop and watch everybody's dance in full. And I'm amazed at how awesome they are at dancing. I don't get this at all. Maybe you do, Dave.
I'm not sure it's as 1950s as you think it is. I think there's a lot of companies that if you're posting certain content on social media, that they would step in and say, this isn't a great message, or this isn't what our company is about, and you represent our company, and I'm not sure this is appropriate, right? And if these dances, say they're edgy in nature, or if there's not just dances, but any kind of social media content, if you're posting it in your free time outside of work, your work may still have issues with what you are posting. Right? If you were to post something that was completely racist or something that was completely over the line, but it was in your own free time, it was at off hours, you could still expect your company to come in and maybe punish you or put some restrictions on you, right?
But that's not what this coach is saying. What the coach is saying is he is banning his players from dancing on TikTok because he wants to maintain a hard edge for his program, and that players dancing in tights on TikTok doesn't project the image he wants for the team. That's just not my take when I watch a football player dancing on TikTok. These are gifted, talented athletes. They're super agile. You and I watched a video this morning of a football player dancing on TikTok. I don't think he plays for West Virginia.
No.
And that's where this coach, it's Coach Rich Rodriguez of West Virginia, has implemented his rule banning his players from dancing on TikTok. But this player you and I watched was phenomenal. And he was dancing in like onesie-type costumes. I think I saw
it was like
a
penguin onesie, yeah, and then like a unicorn onesie.
He was phenomenal.
Well, it
was entertaining, and he was showing a side to him that I think people want to see of now pretty much professional athletes, right? College players getting paid nowadays through NIL and that kind of thing. I mean, I think the general public loves to see a side of athletes that they don't normally see, and this is a side that they don't normally see, and this is an outlet that they can use to do it. The whole dancing in tights on TikTok doesn't protect the image he wants for the team. I guess they only want football players to be. I look at that like manly, rough and tumble, and tights on TikTok isn't manly, and I don't look at it like that at all. I think it's awesome when men dance on TikTok, and when men dance, I think it's awesome.
So this comes from Travis Hunter, the one you were describing.
Yeah.
This is the Heisman Trophy winner. This is the best player in the entire nation. And other people, other players are looking at this and like, oh, if he can get away with it, then I can get away with it, right? So part of the reason players are doing this, not only because it's fun, but they are trying to boost their name recognition. Mm-hmm. They are trying to get endorsement deals. This is something that professional athletes have been doing forever. Silly commercials they do all the time that you wouldn't say, this is hyper masculine or this is a hard edge. Professional athletes do silly commercials all the time. So now that we're in college and college players can now market themselves like professionals, it is a different world that they live in. And now they're crossing a line that college coaches have never had to address in the past. So yeah, it feels different because they are marketing themselves. That's what this is.
I think it's just fun. I don't see eye to eye with the coach on this at all. In fact, when I saw this, I thought back, well, I mean, has this college coach never seen the Chicago Bears 1985 Super Bowl Shuffle where Walter Payton is owning it?
Jim McMahon
dancing?
Well, they call me sweetness, and I like to dance. Running the ball is like making more mans. We had the goal since training camp to give Chicago
they're dancing.
Super Bowl champ. And we're not doing this because we're greedy. The Bears are doing it to feed the needy.
So that Super Bowl Shuffle, the Chicago Bears raised hundreds of thousands of dollars for needy families in the Chicago area. And it was one of the biggest phenomenons of the time. I was a senior in high school when that came out, and we were all trying to do the Super Bowl Shuffle at the dances, at the high school dances. I think this coach it's just I don't know. It just feels like this is ridiculous. I think it's just ridiculous. And you may totally disagree with me on this, Dave, but I wonder what our listeners think. Should football players, these college football players at West Virginia, in your view, be banned from social media dances to maintain, in the coach's words, a hard edge? I think it's a step too far. I say let the kids dance. Let them dance.
I thought this was a party. Let's dance!
801-575-TALK. 801-575-TALK. Should they be allowed to dance? Or sit this one out? Your calls next.
Dave and Dujanovic. Are you asking for Dave and Debbie everywhere?
Just say, Alexa, play KSL News Radio.
And stream them on your phone. The KSL News Radio app.
One of the best things about the Salt Lake City fat loss program that I found was every single day when you get on that scale. And that's typically something that you just hate doing, right? No one likes getting on the scale. Well, when you're on the Salt Lake City fat loss program, you're loving getting on the scale because the results are daily results. I was seeing that number drop every single day, just about every single day. On average, I lost about a pound of fat per day on the Salt Lake City fat loss program, 57 pounds in 60 days in total. And if you're interested, go ahead and reach out to them. You're going to get an extra $200 off the program right now. It's a little spring special for you. So if you're looking to get in a little better shape, or maybe you're trying to lose some of that stubborn weight, go ahead and reach out to Salt Lake City Fat Loss. They do it without injections, without surgery, no insane workout exercises. And if you do it for those 60 days, many people will lose 20 to 30 pounds in a week or two. Again, I saw even better results. So go ahead and reach out to Salt Lake City Fat Loss by going to their website, slcfatloss.com. That's slcfatloss.com.
If there's a problem during your siding, gutter, or window installation project, most contractors will try to hide it, ignore it, or blame someone else. It's called passing the buck or turning a blind eye, or my favorite, finger pointing. My question is, where is the accountability? Tim Jr. here from RGS Exteriors, and look, sometimes problems just happen, no matter who you hire. Maybe the wrong color siding gets delivered, despite the order being placed perfectly, or maybe a downspout gets cut short. Honestly, it could be anything. At RGS Exteriors, mistakes are rare. But if something goes wrong, I can absolutely, positively, 100% guarantee you we'll never hide it and we'll never pass the buck. We'll make certain everything turns out right for you. That's people over profits. That's the RGS Exteriors way. For a free estimate on siding, gutters, or windows, call 801-280-3110, rgsexteriors.com, rgsexteriors.com.
Dave, and Dujanovic.
If your son made it to the college football ranks, was recruited, playing on scholarship, and then was told, you cannot dance on TikTok. You cannot make videos on TikTok of you dancing by his coach. Would you give that coach a thumbs up or tell him, oh, wait a minute, my son should be allowed on TikTok? This is what's happening. At West Virginia, the football coach there, Rich Rodriguez, implementing a rule banning his players not from being on TikTok, but they just can't dance on TikTok. And why? Because he wants to maintain a hard edge for his program. The players dancing on in tights on TikTok doesn't project the image he wants for the team. And I think this is a step too far. Let these kids dance. I mean, these college athletes are phenomenal. They're agile. They're incredible. They're talented. Let them dance on TikTok. 801-575-TALK. Do you disagree with me on that?
This doesn't surprise me at all. The Rich Rod shuts this down. College athletics in general, especially college football, this is all about sending a message, and we're tough and we're intimidating. This is very much the persona of college football. So this does not surprise me at all that a college football coach would crack down on this. I think we know about Rich Rod. It would not surprise me if this is not as common as water in the college football ranks. I think coaches
I just don't understand this.
All over the country have put in restrictions on what they allow their players to do for a couple different reasons. Number one, they want to keep the players safe. Right? And I'm not even talking about the TikTok dancing specifically, but there are rules in place that coaches are saying, hey, just don't get involved in this. There's too many problems with it.
Like skiing or something?
Yeah, they'll say no motorcycle riding, no skiing. They'll put in restrictions like that. Well, now that social media has come out, there are social media policies in every single football program in the nation, guaranteed, where they will say this is acceptable behavior. And I don't think this is that crazy because we have the same things. It would be very common for a company to say, you know what, there's certain images or there's certain content that we don't want our employees dipping their toes into, right? Because if you're representing our company, we expect a standard of conduct. And this happens all the time in America, Like regular companies have these standards of conduct, what they will and won't allow you to do. Some companies are like, yeah, post whatever you want. We don't even care. Others are like, make sure you are not posting X, Y, and Z.
Well, so my take on this and reading the reasons behind it is that he wants a hard edge. The football coach wants a hard edge for his college program, that players dancing in tights on TikTok doesn't project the image he wants for the team. That more speaks to me, Dave, from a level of doesn't look manly enough. It doesn't look tough enough if you're dancing on TikTok. And I think it's awesome when men get out there and dance. And I would look at the uniforms that football players wear, and they are kind of like a thicker version of tights anyway.
Yeah, that's true.
Really. I mean, Greg, in Utah County, you said the Utah Rams have a lineman who does ballet?
The L.A. Rams.
Oh, the L.A. Rams. Okay, sorry.
Used to have their linemen take ballet lessons because it increased their flexibility and the power. So they were more manly. And dance is a form of expression. Dancers are athletes as well. Come on, Coach.
Love it, Greg.
One of my favorite players of all time, Herschel Walker, would actually perform ballet for that exact reason. And he was an incredible 1,000 push-ups a day, 1,000 sit-ups a day, and he was just a massive human being. And he was an elegant dancer, and it was for all those reasons. They found it to be great for his balance and his flexibility.
Yeah, I would love to see him do that on TikTok. Honestly,
I'll pull up the video.
I would totally follow him on that. Kirk and Tooele, you understand the dancing, but you're not. It sounds like you're in the coach's corner.
Yes, I am.
Why?
Well, it seems to me that a lot of these athletes spend more time worrying about how they're going to celebrate a good play or a touchdown with their little moves and their dances than they are more concerned about winning the game. I could understand if you're on the top of your league and you're winning the championship, you bet let them dance. But until then, they need to concentrate on the game instead of how they're going to celebrate a touchdown. They just spend way too much time doing that.
Oh, so you're bugged by the end zone dances?
That and any
dance, even if it's in their okay, or on the field, but this sounds like this is on their off time that they're making these TikTok dances and posting them online, and he doesn't want that. The coach does not want that.
Well, it can be a distraction. I think to his point, all the extracurricular stuff that you are doing can be a distraction. In fact, Paul George of the NBA just announced that he was going to discontinue his podcast so he could focus on the NBA season. And he's having kind of a bad NBA season, and there's been a lot of criticism. Hey, you're spending too much time on your extracurriculars. Your full-time job is to be an NBA athlete, not a podcaster. That's why you're being paid hundreds of millions of dollars. And coaches often will look at these distractions, what they view as distractions, and say, hey, we've got to remove these distractions from our life, from your life, but also it's a team distraction as well. Or maybe you're putting yourself up there and taking away from the team. So coaches have endless amounts of reasoning why they do this. And we're talking about Rich Rodriguez of West Virginia. It wouldn't surprise me at all to know that there are many, many coaches that have similar restrictions on social media and what you can post.
Is it too bold for me to say? I want to answer my own question from the top. Is it too bold for me to say if one of my kids called me and said our coach is banning us from dancing on a social media app, and I of course follow my kids and I pay attention to what they're doing online, so I would know if it was appropriate, and it is. I would say dance anyway. I would totally take the footloose approach to this.
I thought this was a party. Let's dance.
I mean, if it lifts your spirit, if it makes you happy, if you're doing ballet because it makes you a better football player or a basketball player, I just rules and all these banning this and making these rules and everything within reason. It's just a dance. Let's just have fun. Life is hard enough. Like these football players, any athlete works so hard anyway. What's wrong with just occasionally doing a dance online. I feel like it's so over the top. And maybe the coach has a really, really good example of why he absolutely needs to push for this ban or tell his players they can't dance on TikTok. From my perspective, like, let the kids dance.
The two best players in college football, Ashton Jeanty from Boise State and then Travis Hunter from Colorado, both huge dancers on TikTok, have millions and millions of views of their dances. Some are fun, some are silly, some have some edge to them. Yeah. The music and the rap music that maybe coach doesn't like. Who knows what the reason is, but it does not surprise me at all. And I think if you were to find out from the hundreds and hundreds of programs out there, this would probably be more common than the anomaly. I don't think this is an anomaly at all.
Straight ahead, if you're a parent, you're a social media influencer, you're trying to break into the social media influencer sphere, and you want to use your children to create videos and content online, we have a new law in Utah that just got passed by the Utah legislature. You got to follow it, and it includes paying your children. And we're going to go in depth straight ahead in the 10 o'clock hour with KSL legal analyst Greg Skordas.
Don't be worried. Be ready.
KSL News Radio has partnered with Be Ready Utah to provide the plans your family needs for an emergency, the tools and supplies to keep on hand, and the knowledge on how to keep a cool head.
It's Be Ready Utah. Listen to our show, Dave and Dujanovic, for Be Ready tips and tools.
Or you can always find the latest preparation info at BeReadyUtah.gov.
Be Ready Utah with KSL News Radio. We've been telling you about this exciting news for a while now, but Master Electrical Service has joined Mountain Home Services.
And there's lots of things that they can do to help you with your home. All your electrical needs can be met just by making this one phone call. You need a new EV charger. You need a new generator. You're looking at replacing that old lighting in your home. Or maybe you need your HVAC repaired. We are getting into the spring season where temperatures are getting warmer and warmer, so it'd be a good time to get a hold of them.
Plumbing, fireplaces, you name it, they can take care of you with Mountain Home Services. And because they don't farm out and grab a bunch of third-party installers, they do it all in-house. You get that same expertise and that same level of quality. And it also comes with this upfront pricing guarantee. So when they come into your house and they give you a bid, they will honor that bid. It's not going to be a big surprise once you get the invoice. You know what to expect.
And that all comes with the 100% satisfaction guarantee as well.
Check them out. MountainHomeservices.com is the website. MountainHomeservices.com.
Or you can call them, 801-543-2222. Let me give you that phone number one more time, 801-543-2222.
Confidence is knowing you're ready to handle whatever comes your way. That's what it feels like to take on your workday with Cintas. They make sure your AEDs are up to date, your fire extinguishers are tested and inspected, your floor mats are cleaned and delivered, and your workwear looks good, feels good, and is freshly laundered with the Cintas Apparel Plus program. So are you ready to take on today? Visit Cintas.com and get ready for the workday.
What if your business could see beyond what is and into what can be? What if you could create more impact in every decision? What if you had a partner as visionary as you are? With Bank of America, you get access to our trusted experts, real-time insights, and digital tools. So whether you run a local shop or a global enterprise, you're backed by business solutions to make every move matter. What would you like the power to do? Find out how at bankofamerica.com/banking for business. Bank of America is proud to be the official bank sponsor of FIFA World Cup 2026.
These days, losing weight is such a roller coaster. You try the new medications, and when you stop taking them, you gain it all back.
Today is a new day.
Today is a new day.
Let Soda Weight Loss teach you the healthy, natural way to let go of the weight for good.
Do you know how good it feels to let go of 51 pounds of belly fat? And I did it without drugs, shots, or hunger. Because Soda Weight Loss works. Just look at all the Google reviews and all the thousands of before and after pictures.
For a limited time, 2 people can start with Soda Weight Loss for the price of 1.
What does that mean? It's more fun?
Double the motivation, double double the results, half the cost.
The best decision I've made in a long time was just to call Soda Weight Loss.
Take advantage of Soda Weight Loss 2-for-1 partner program. Visit sodaweightloss.com. That's SOTA weightloss.com. Soda is, say it with me, state of the art.
Welcome to Staples.
I hear Staples prints it all for any business.
You bet, and we'll beat any print quote.
So if I had a pizza place...
Staples can print signs, menus, pizza boxes.
A landscaping business?
Oh, we can print yard signs, t-shirts, brochures.
How about a pizza/landscaping business? I'll call it Dough and Mo.
I like it.
Right now at Staples, get up to $250 off your print purchase. Ends 4/5, exclusions apply. Visit staples.com/print for offer details. Price match guarantee valid in store and staples.com/print. Visit staples.com/price match for details.
Tired of hearing scary radio ads about the IRS? Tax Relief Advocates is different. TRA is here to tell you that if you owe money to the IRS, whether it's $5,000 or $500,000, we have a solution. TRA can eliminate or reduce what you owe to the IRS with zero risk to you. We have over 1,000 5-star reviews on Google and an A+ with a BBB. End your tax nightmare today by visiting TRA.com or call 800-583-6681. That's 800-583-6681.
KSL FM Midvale.
KSL Salt Lake City.
From the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios, this is KSL News Radio.
Utah's news, traffic, and weather station.
It's 10 o'clock at KSL News Radio. I'm Andy Farnsworth. KSL's top story this hour. Nearly half of Utahns say they support the idea of having small nuclear reactors in the state as state leaders explore the possibilities. That's according to a new Deseret News Hinckley Institute of Politics poll. The poll comes just after the legislature passed a bill that creates an Office of Energy Development to explore the state's nuclear options. Senator Ann Milner co-sponsored it.
If we're going to do this in a way that we're creating baseload power that is clean and that can meet the needs of Utah, we have to begin looking at nuclear.
The bill is now on the governor's desk. 2 Utah fire crews are leaving for Texas this morning. Texas has been dealing with wildfires across the western part of the state, and it's only expected to get worse as a windy storm starts to roll in. Crews with the Utah Division of Forestry, Fire, and State Lands will join the Lone Peak Fire District's Wildland Crew this week. Our top national story this hour from ABC News. The Department of Education is the next government agency facing major cuts from the Trump administration. The president of the National Education Association, Becky Pringles, says she's worried about funding for special needs students.
Our teachers who are in special education, teaching our students with disabilities, they won't have access to those services that are provided directly from the Individuals with Disabilities Education Act, IDEA. They won't have the direct help.
Roughly half of the Department of Education staff is said to be on the chopping block. Your money at this moment, the Dow is down, although it's recovered a little bit from earlier. It's only down 116 points to 41,317. Coming up, one more warm day before the storm. KSL weather's next. KSL News Time, 10:02.
Mornings are for recharging.
And they're for starting your day right.
We volunteer to join you in the car. Get news and weather at 102.7 FM during the most important part of your day.
Andy and Amanda, each morning between 5 and 9 on KSL News Radio.
Let's talk about new construction and whether or not you should purchase a home with new construction or something that's already existing. So we bring in our expert from the Stern team, Russell Fawcett, owner of the Stern team of Omada Real Estate. And Russ, give us an idea. If we're looking at buying a home, why should we consider new construction? What are some of the pros and cons of it?
Yeah, I think one of the biggest things is you're able to go in, if you're not buying a spec home with new construction, and pick your paint, pick your carpet, that customization, and know you're the only person that's lived in it, right? Some of the cons, though, are kind of the same thing, is you don't know, like, maybe if something was missed or things like that when they're constructing it. So that's why it's important to find out about builder reputation going in. The other thing is timeline. So if you need a home next month, right, unless you're buying, again, that spec home, you're not moving into new construction next month.
Russell, what is a spec home for people who might not know?
Yeah, So builders, every now and again, they'll build a speculation home, right? So it is a home that they build without a buyer in mind. So it's already built. It's brand new. In those, you aren't picking out your paint and carpet. It's an existing home, but it's brand new.
And that's the level of customization you lose. You can't go in there and say, I want this color of carpet or this color of the walls. What you get is what you get.
Yep. And a lot of the times, sometimes those are actually nicer homes when the builders get towards the end of a phase and they're selling their model home. And so you can get some of those upgrades that are already in the home when going through new construction.
When we come back, I'd like to talk a little bit about working with a real estate when a builder has their own sales rep. So working with an agent yourself, and do you need one? Should you have one? So when we come back, hey, and by the way, if you have any questions, make sure you reach out to the Stern team. SternTeam.com is a great way to find out more. And if you want to learn your home's true value, you can do so. SternTeam.com in just 30 seconds.
Get in the zone, AutoZone.
Welcome to the A to Z savings event at AutoZone.
Yeah, happy to be here. Can I get some rotors?
Would you like brake pads with that?
How much are the brake pads?
Free with the rotors.
Free. Really?
Really, free.
Okay, I also need some oil.
Would you like an oil filter with that?
Yeah, how much is that?
Free with 5 quarts of oil.
Free? Really?
Really, free. It's part of the A to Z savings event.
You might as well call it A to free.
At AutoZone.
Get in the zone, AutoZone.
Restrictions apply.
If you love to travel, Capital One has a rewards credit card that's perfect for you. With the Capital One Venture X card, you earn unlimited double miles on everything you buy. Plus, you get premium benefits at a collection of luxury hotels when you book on Capital One Travel. And with Venture X, you get access to over 1,000 airport lounges worldwide. Open up a world of travel possibilities with the Capital One Venture X card. What's in your wallet?
Terms apply. Lounge access is subject to change. See CapitalOne.com for details.
Any Hour Services free furnace sale is going on right now. If you haven't scheduled your free estimate yet, do it now. Call Any Hour Services today or schedule online at anyhourservices.com.
Traffic and weather together brought to you by Mountain America's low-rate auto loans. Here's Heather Kelly.
Our biggest issue right now is Mountain View Corridor northbound in South Jordan. You're down to one lane as you make your way between Daybreak Parkway up to Lake Avenue. So traffic is at a crawl through that stretch. Now, we also have construction going on Bangerter Highway, but right now there are no delays in any of those sections. So got a pretty good commute going on, as well as on all the other major roadways across the Wasatch Front. Advanced Window Products, factory direct affordable windows. Call today, they're on their way. Financing available, save now, pay later. AdvancedWindows.com. Heather Kelly in the KSL Traffic Center.
KSL weather. Now, we should hit a high of 64 today, but the wind will start to pick up this afternoon. That wind will help bring in a storm tomorrow that will start rain, and then it'll turn to snow late tomorrow night. Right now, it's 48 degrees and sunny in Salt Lake City. I'm Andy Farnsworth from the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios. Listen online at kslnewsradio.com. We're Utah's news, traffic, and weather station.
Dave and Dujanovic, your morning companions for talk, analysis, and key perspectives on Utah's biggest stories on KSL News Radio.
Eye on the Hill 2025. Special coverage with Dave and Dujanovic.
Well, when the gavel dropped at the 2025 general session of the Utah State Legislature last Friday night, one bill that received support and passed will certainly impact Utah families who are trying to break into social media. Maybe you're already a social media influencer and you're using your children to help produce content. Maybe they're the star of the show and they're drawing in fans. There's a new law that will require you to pay your children. And we're going to dive into that law with the help of KSL legal analyst Greg Skordas and what it means to parents who want to do this or are already doing this. Dave?
This does make my skin crawl.
Why?
A little bit. Because you just told me I've got to make my child an employee. Like straight up, employee number 1, employee number 2, 3, 4. Now I've got to pay my kids. If I'm producing social media content and they're in the content and we're making money off of it, then I've got to set aside a certain amount of money to pay them. But don't we already just pay for everything with our kids anyway? My kids are my employees. My kids are my kids. That's why I house them and I feed them and I pay for their piano lessons and guitar lessons and sporting events. And I do it without any expectation of anything in return because that's what a parent does. And now that you're turning us into an employer-employee dynamic by doing this, it makes my skin crawl.
There's certain conditions that we'll get into with Greg Skordas in just a minute. Like, it's not if you make, $2 off social media in the year. Like, maybe your social media platform flops. It's hard to break into it. There's a lot of people doing it. There's a lot of competition. You're not going to have to split that $2 with your child. There are certain thresholds you have to meet when it comes to bringing in money in order for you to have to worry about this. And Greg will help walk us through that in just a moment. But let's just back up just a minute. And actually, let's back up a couple of years. You know the name Ruby Franke, Dave.
Yes.
A very popular social media influencer in Utah. Arrested, convicted, sentenced in a child abuse case in August of 2023. Okay. Well, then let's fast forward to October of 2024. Ruby Franke's oldest daughter, Sherry, speaks to the Utah legislature, talks to lawmakers on behalf of children who are involved in these family vlogs, as they're called, vlogs, and she spoke out on behalf of these kids.
As a child, I was fully aware that I was an employee. The business was successful when I was happy or when I shared my hardships with the world. My friends became scarce because dates were filmed and none of my friends wanted to be on camera. I foresee there will be legal crises, with these children realizing that vlogging has brought severe emotional distress, or these kids may realize they don't have an appropriate amount of money to show for their labor. We'd be rewarded $100 or a shopping trip if we filmed a particularly embarrassing moment or an exciting event. I'd rather have an empty bank account now and not have my childhood plastered all over the internet.
Now, I listened to the Franke daughter, and my heart goes out to her. She was abused, right? This family was abused. Her mom is serving time in prison right now for child abuse. So although her testimony is powerful, and my heart absolutely goes out to her, there's a difference between child abuse and what was happening in that family and her experience and what is happening for most social media producers, that family producers that do it with their kids. It is not that toxic. This is the extreme of the extremes. So although I feel great sympathy for the Franke family, that's not largely what is happening day in and day out for families that produce social media content.
But it sounds like this law would have financially protected these children. Doug Owens, representative here in the state of Utah, actually represents the residents of Mill Creek. He called the show because he was working with Sherry Franke and others to get this legislation passed. He called in and he explained why he thinks this is so important. He talked to us earlier this year. In fact, he called in during the legislative session to talk about this legislation.
What we're trying to be concerned with this bill is the situation where the family is making a lot of money. It is a major financial enterprise for the family. The kids' lives are upended to produce content for the parents, and they get to be adults, and they have parents that made a lot of money and don't have anything to share with the kids. Really, it comes out of the typical film production scenario where child actors work on film sets or commercials, and the parents get a lot of money for that, and then the kid becomes an adult and has no money to show for it. So it really comes out of a traditional Hollywood kind of setting, and Utah is a big center for film production and also for social media content production. So we're trying to just protect the kids where there is a lot of money in play and the kids are not benefiting at all from it.
We're going to take your phone calls on this. Are you comfortable with the government compelling parents to pay their kids? Do you like this? Do you see it as protections for the kids, or do you think this is overreach? I see it as overreach. I think anytime we start looking at mom and dad as employers and the kids as employees, that's a slippery slope, and that worries me. But I'd love to hear from you guys. 801-575-TALK.
In the meantime, as you're dialing the phone, KSL legal analyst Greg Skordas is waiting on the line to walk us through what this means for family vloggers. Greg, good morning.
Good morning. I don't know that I share David's concern, only because it seems like a lot of times parents take advantage of what their kids are doing. And so it makes sense to me to at least put the money in some sort of trust or, like they say, payment to the kids so that the work that they're doing and the efforts that they're putting in will be rewarded someday, and it won't just go to the parents. And we've seen these cases nationally with young stars and the families just taking advantage of them. And I think that, like Doug Owen said, this is a way to prevent that from occurring here in Utah.
Greg, let's walk through some of the ins and outs of this legislation, because it's not all parents. I mean, if you're making, $10 a month on social media, this is not going to affect you. But if you're making, tens of thousands of dollars a year, those family vloggers will definitely want to pay attention to this law and follow the law, I would think.
You're exactly right. And I think that they should. And I think that it's a good way to protect children. It's also a good way to protect the family so that people don't just waste the money and blow it away on something. Maybe set it aside for the child, maybe pay them something like we're talking about here so that their efforts are rewarded. And when the kid turns 18, there's still something to show for their efforts.
The Department of Agriculture did a breakdown of how much it costs to raise a child. Anyone want to take a guess of how much it costs to raise a child?
I
$233,000 is what the government estimate was. $233,000 to raise a child. So can we use that as the baseline? Like, hey, listen, once you pay me back for the $233,000 I spent raising you, then we can talk about you getting a portion of the income.
Dave, I love you, bro, but you're not going to ask any of your kids to reimburse you one penny. That's why you had kids, because you wanted to make that expenditure. You knew that that's part of being a parent, and you're incredibly good at it. So that's I understand what you're saying. But
that's what I'm saying is it's ridiculous, right? It's ridiculous to think about having the kids pay us back, right? Because that's not how it works. So when you start looking at parenting and child rearing as transactional, and that's kind of how I look at this, is we start making it transactional, then it's just a slippery slope. And I think it's silly because we provide everything. We provide the food, the sporting events, the acting classes, whatever we want to do. And we do it happily because that's what parents do. This law concerns me because I think, well, now we're making this relationship transactional on some level, maybe on the extremes, but it's still making it transactional.
I understand. And Dave, when 20 years from now, when your kids are taking care of you and saying, well, Dad, what's the quid pro quo here? I mean, so I don't know. I understand there's argument on both sides. There's just been too many examples of parents taking advantage of their kids and really just taking everything for the efforts of the kid.
Greg, I want to dive in a little deeper into what will be required under the new law that lawmakers just passed up on Capitol Hill. And I'm reading the Deseret News article right now on this, and it says in order for parents to be required to pay their kids, the child has to be in at least 30% of the content and making $20,000 a year. The parents also have to be clearing $150,000 a year after expenses. So what we're talking about here is not the, Dave Noriega trying to make a few bucks on the side. It doesn't, the kind of the social media effort that doesn't really get anywhere. It sounds like we're talking about parents who are in this as not a side hustle, but as a full-on career. And they're, getting all their kids together to do dances on TikTok or to vlog their vacations across the country. And their children are in what I would consider to be a significant amount of that content, 30%. I mean, think about a child's most of the day, they're away at school, right? And so then they come home and then they're spending 30% of their time after school, making these videos. So it is a situation, at least in my view, that these families are making a significant amount of their income, maybe all of their income, and they're using their children for at least 30% of the time to do that.
No, you're exactly right. I mean, there are some safeguards brought into this so that we're not doing the nickel and dime thing. And it's a child that's earning significant amount of income. And it also, like you say, takes into account the parent's standard of living. And I think it's a fair balance. I really do. And I absolutely understand Dave's arguments. But I think it's a proposed cure to something we're just seeing far too much in this country.
And becoming more and more popular.
Absolutely, yes. And will continue to become more popular as Utah, it becomes more and more of a place where we're, doing things with our kids and raising money and the film industry, all the things that are going on in this state that are making kids more popular.
Greg, thank you so much for joining us, our KSL legal analyst, Greg Skordas. As always, love having the conversation with you. But we'd love to hear from you, folks. We'd love to hear from our callers. Do you like this idea to compel parents to pay their kids that are social media creators? Or if you're making if you have a family channel and you're making money on it, should you have to pay your kids? I'd love to hear your perspective. 801-575-TALK.
See, I just don't even understand why this is any kind of a debate. Because if you went and asked, for example, to use somebody else's children, first of all, the other parent would probably say no. Or second, it's like you'd have to pay that child. So what's your opposition to paying your own child? And you probably wouldn't even be allowed to hire that child because of child labor laws. So you're putting your kids to work. And all they're asking to do is like, look, if you're using your children for 30% of the content and you're making $150K a year, at least $150K a year after expenses, you got to pay your child some of that. I think, first of all, what a great way to get your child kickstarted in life for all of the work they have done. And if you put your child to work, for example, let's say on a movie set, you would expect them to be paid there. So why not if you're using them for social media content? Why not?
How many rich, famous child actors grow up with a whole host of problems because they had too much money too early? The world is littered with child actors that have spent decades and years in therapy and rehab because they just had too much money, too much fame too early. I look at this and say, nobody knows the child better than the parent. Nobody cares about the child more than the parent. So this assumption that we have to step in as the state of Utah and say, let's say you make $1 million. Let's say your channel blows up and you have to give your child hundreds of thousands of dollars because they've participated in this. Well, as a parent, maybe I don't think that's the best way to raise my child, is to have hundreds of thousands of dollars at their disposal that they can buy Lamborghinis and blow their cash on and have these unbelievable experiences. Maybe that's not the best way I think that we should raise our child, despite the fact that it's highly profitable. As a parent, I want to be able to make that decision. I don't want the government to come in and say, oh, well, you have to pay your child X.
Okay, and you're saying that parents know their kids better than anybody. But how many parents do you know, Dave, who force their kids to keep playing a sport because the parent is trying to either satisfy some sort of, objective that they were never able to satisfy when they were a child, or they just insist you're going to get a college scholarship one day, no matter, maybe their child wants to be in drama. And how many kids have a say when your parent asks, well, do you want to act? Do you want to be part of this? And the child says, no, I don't want to be a part of it. And they're forced to do it anyway, just because they happen to be in the backseat of the car and mom and dad is recording a video. So I just happen to, over the years, know a lot of parents, and maybe my kids would even say this. My two oldest would probably say this. We were forced to play soccer even though we were not good at it and we didn't like it. Well, yeah, we were 3 and 4 years old and we finally recognized it and we pulled them out of the soccer club that they were in, right? And then my youngest loved soccer and we're like, oh, we're too busy to do soccer, so we're going to have to just put you on softball because we're already going to the softball field with your sister. So you say, oh, the parents know them better than anybody. But I've seen tons of parents over the years who have kept the thumb on their child to keep doing something their kid just doesn't want to do.
And that's still the best way to parent a child. It's for the parent, what do you want the state of Utah to come in and put in regulations of whether or not that child should be put into a soccer league? No, I mean, unfortunately, that's part of the growing pains of a parent is we've just got to figure it out, and we're going to make some mistakes along the way. Taking your phone calls, Mike, what do you think?
Well, I just think that this is something that is not brand new. It's been going on for a long time. If you look at history, take a look at Mozart. His dad exploited him to the point where he was a mess his whole life and had a short life because of it. And I agree that parents do provide all those things that a child needs, but we got to be careful. Like you're saying, Dave, there's a slippery slope here, and we've got to be careful what we're taking away from parents, as well as watching out for the kids. It's a dangerous thing.
Thank you, Mike. I appreciate the phone call. And we have laws in place. When parents cross those lines, we have laws in place to make sure that we crack down on that. And Ruby Frankie is a great example. Her tough parenting style ended up crossing a line into abuse, and now she's in prison for that, and she's paying the price for it. Despite all her success on YouTube and the millions of dollars that she made, none of it matters because she's in prison right now. And when they break the law, when they cross the line, we should crack down on that. I just am worried about it. I see problems whenever you come in and tell me how I should parent my kid, how I should pay my kid. That is a line that I just think is too problematic for me.
Next, the story that we covered already this week on the show, the case of the Utah judge and now fired fire chief, both facing criminal charges for online chats that cops say involved sex crimes that included children. And now there is a brand new twist to this story, and that's what we're going to talk about next.
Dave and Dujanovic. Are you asking for Dave and Debbie everywhere?
Just say, Alexa, play KSL News Radio.
And stream them on your phone. The KSL News Radio app.
Do you enjoy fatty foods, sweets, and alcohol? Who doesn't? Unfortunately, all those things put a lot of pressure on our liver. That's why pharmacist, best-selling author, and nutritional expert Sherry Torkos recommends Active Liver from New Nordic.
The liver is an incredible organ. It works nonstop to process toxins and chemicals from our food and drinks, medications we take, and even environmental exposures. As a health expert, I'm often asked how to support the liver's natural detoxification process and offset the effects of fatty foods, sugar, and alcohol. I recommend Active Liver by New Nordic. This gentle plant-based supplement is an effective way to support your liver's vital functions as well as your energy and overall well-being.
With its powerful blend of turmeric, milk thistle, and globe artichoke extract, Active Liver is the perfect way to keep your liver healthy and you feeling your best. Active Liver is available in both a delicious gummy or tablet. You can find Active Liver in the vitamin aisle at your local CVS or online at Amazon or newnordicusa.com.
If you're purchasing some new construction, should you be working with your own real estate agent when a new construction home, a developer has their own sales rep? Well, let's ask one of the experts, Russell Fawcett, owner of the Stern team of Omada Real Estate. If I do want to buy something new and there's new construction, there's a developer, do I need my own real estate agent?
Yeah, my recommendation is definitely you do. So the builder's real estate agent is just that. It's the builder's agent. They're there to represent the interest of the builder. Now, they want to get the home sold. They're still going to work with you, but their fiduciary is to the seller, to the builder, as opposed to you as a buyer.
So, Russell, what does that look like if I were to call you up and say, hey, I'm looking at a brand new home. It's just being built right now, and I want to go look at it. And then you come along with me. Do I have to pay your fee, your commission fee, or does the builder pay that fee when they sell the home?
Yeah, so it is negotiable, right? So you still would have a buyer-broker agreement with me as your real estate agent, and then that's something that we're going to work with the builder to negotiate to get compensation for the builder. That's usually what happens, but it would be the same as existing, right? We're going to work with the seller to try to get them to pay us. Then if they don't, we'd have a talk as between our relationship.
How does, we're running out of time. So when we come back, let me talk to you a little bit about earnest money and new construction. a builder's deposit. Oftentimes they will require some deposit money there. So when you come back, let's discuss that aspect. We're really focusing in on new construction and purchasing new construction here with Russell Fawcett. He's the owner of the Stern team of Omada Real Estate. If you're interested in learning your home's true value in just 30 seconds, make sure you check out their website, sternteam.com.
Tay-Tay was a typical girl that loved pink, singing, and all kinds of animals. At 3 years old, she tumbled off a horse and received a traumatic brain injury. Her family prayed for a miracle, and when they realized their daughter would not survive, they made the decision to donate her organs. Because of her donation, 4 other people received her organs and tissue, allowing others to live. Go to donorconnect.life and read about what it takes to become a donor. Did you know many people think that they're too old and not in good enough health to be a donor? Anyone can be a donor. If you were told that it could save a life for someone close to you, or even a stranger, would you please donate? Finding out more on why you should become a donor is pretty easy. DonorConnect.life can walk you through the process and what it takes to simply sign up. Check yes to become a donor when you renew your driver's license. Give hope, heal life. DonorConnect.life.
10:30 at KSL News Radio. I'm Andy Farnsworth. KSL's top story this hour, Utah's latest job numbers were released today.
You know, Utah was in a really solid space in January of 2025. We saw the unemployment rate come down to 3.2%, and we saw job growth at 1.9%.
Department of Workforce Services spokesperson Jared Mendenhall told us on Utah's Morning News the state is sitting in the Goldilocks zone, where unemployment is low but not too low, and job growth is consistent. He says we saw job growth in education, healthcare, construction, and manufacturing, but we lost some jobs in trades, transportation, and professional business services. Our top national story this hour from ABC News. The U.S. Senate will soon vote on a House budget proposal to keep the government funded until next fall. If nothing passes, the government could shut down on Friday.
Democrats are between a rock and a hard place because we've heard from Senate Democrats who say they do not like what is in this temporary government funding measure, and they don't like the way that Speaker Johnson has played this. But on the flip side, they recognize the reality that the government would shut down on Friday if nothing is passed.
ABC's Jay O'Brien says Republicans will need a handful of Democratic senators to vote for the bill in order for it to pass. Antelope Island State Park is shutting off their fresh water until May for ongoing construction. The park announced the news on their Facebook page, saying the visitor center will not have water. Anyone who visits will need to bring plenty of water for themselves and their animals. Bottled water will be available for purchase at the gift shop. Your money at this moment, the Dow has actually rebounded and is now in the positive for the day, up only 2 points, but that's a big improvement over earlier, 41,431. Coming up, it's warm again today, but a storm tomorrow will change things. KSL weather's next. KSL News Time 10:32.
A reminder about the simplest way to get updated for your day.
Hit your KSL preset when you jump in the car, and we'll take care of the rest.
Hear key news updates and traffic reports.
Andy and Amanda from 5 to 9 in your car.
KSL News Radio at 102.7 FM.
Hey folks, for years I've been telling you that the Connecticut water softeners use 2/3 less salt than other water softeners, but I've never told you how they do that and why they are so efficient compared to other water softeners. Well, there are several ways that this happens. Most soft water systems use a finicky, hard-to-adjust computer, and then they guesstimate when to cycle through. And then it errs on cycling too often because they want to make sure that you have plenty of soft water. So they give you more than you need. So that's why it's burning through much more salt. Connecticut is different. It has an all-mechanical system that measures water use precisely. There's no computer. There's no guesstimation. So if it cycles when it's needed. And that gives you that 24/7 perfectly soft water using minimal salt. So you can save your back, carry 1 bag of salt instead of 3. Call Northern Utah's authorized Connecticut dealer, Connecticut Quality Water Systems of Salt Lake, now at 801-576-8600. That's 801-576-8600. Or, of course, you can check them online at softwaterutah.com and let them know that Dave sent you.
Time for a check of traffic and weather together, brought to you by Mountain America's low-rate auto loans. Let's check in again with Heather Kelly.
Things looking pretty good all across the Wasatch Front. We are at least accident-free everywhere throughout Utah, Salt Lake, Davis, Tooele, and Summit counties. But you are going to have to face construction woes. Right now, the worst of it is on Mountain View Corridor northbound between Daybreak Parkway and Lake Avenue. You're down to one left lane that's open, so you've got quite a bit of backup through that stretch in the Daybreak area. And then occasionally on Bangalore Highway, you're going to see some slowdowns through their road construction zones as well. But other than that, you shouldn't have any issues. Our 100th spring is right around the corner. At Murdoch Chevrolet can help you take those curves in style. Right now, receive 5.9% for 84 months on the new heavy-duty Silverados. Heather Kelly in the KSL Traffic Center.
KSL weather now. We have a storm system moving into the state over the next 24 hours. We should see rain tomorrow afternoon, and that rain will likely turn to snow late Thursday night into early Friday morning. But before the storm, we get a high today of 64. Right now, it's actually fair and 50 degrees in Salt Lake City, 51 degrees in Ogden, and almost 49 degrees in Provo. I'm Andy Farnsworth from the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios. Listen online at kslnewsradio.com. We're Utah's news, traffic, and weather station.
Dave and Dujanovic, your morning companions for talk, analysis, and key perspectives on Utah's biggest stories on KSL News Radio. Dave and Dujanovic. Special coverage of the top local story.
I think this is one of the stories in the last couple of months that it's just getting bigger and bigger. And this is the case of the Utah judge and the now fired fire chief of Tremont, both facing a stack of criminal charges. We've talked about this earlier this week, and I want to talk about the new twist in this case. But in a nutshell, both of them facing just a host of criminal charges for, among other things, online chats that cops say involved sex crimes that included children. Where we left off earlier this week when we were talking about this story, Dave, is both have been arrested. The fire chief, former fire chief up in Tremont, arrested in January after cops knocked on his door and served a search warrant. They collected some devices, of course, phones or whatever. They collected computers. I don't know what the list included, but that's usually like kind of standard operating procedure when cops serve a search warrant, when they get a tip that somebody's acting inappropriately online. And then because of that search warrant, it leads to the discovery and the allegations that the fire chief has been involved with conversations with the judge in Box Elder County. And eventually, the FBI task force that deals with child exploitation swoops in and arrests the judge, Kevin Robert Christensen. And now they're both facing a host of charges. But there's also a lot more to this story. I just want to stop there and get your reaction.
Well, first of all, the charges, the allegations are so chilling. They are gross and disgusting on a level that's hard to even explain. And because the claims are so outrageous, we can't even tell you what was said. We're not allowed to tell you the conversations and the chats and the fantasies that these two men had. And the fact that they're connected or they had some sort of a relationship is shocking as well, because these are two prominent leaders in the community, a judge and a fire chief, that have allegedly participated in these abominable issues with children.
Yeah, and of course, if you were wanting to follow the case, you can read about the allegations. And I think what you're trying to say is, like, we just can't say these on the air. The things that the alleged exchanges between the two and what was going on online, according to cops, we won't say that on the air. But you could go to kslnewsradio.com and read about it. KSL.com has been covering this as well. KSLTV.com has been covering this. But the new allegation that came out yesterday in these articles and in court documents is that what we learned is that these two were allegedly were involved in a relationship of their own. And then add to that, the fire chief is arrested. He's taken into custody. Law enforcement asks the judge at the time, again, the fire chief for the timeline, arrested in a couple of months ago, goes before a judge, and then cops ask, he be detained in jail without the possibility of bail. And the judge denies this. Greg Skordas, our KSL legal analyst, we now learn, thanks to these new allegations that were released yesterday, that the judge in that case that released the firefighter, the fire chief on bail, is Judge Kevin Christensen, who had allegedly been communicating with the fire chief. And they're both now charged with criminal allegations. So what law enforcement is alleging is that these two knew each other. They've been in a relationship. And these, and that the judge, in fact, allegedly didn't disclose this relationship at the time that bail was issued for the fire chief. What do you make of that?
Oh, Debbie, this case just goes on and on. I mean, it goes further than that because there were communications between the two of them relating to children and their interest in children. And I mean, I don't know. I mean, I've practiced law for 43 years, and I know you've been around for a bit too, but, we see things like this, and they're troubling. Two of the most prominent figures in Box Elder County, a judge and the fire chief, involved in something that's just, like Dave said, so horrific and so troublesome that it really shakes the public's confidence in our leaders. And I mean, if these allegations are true, these two men are going to serve a lot of time, maybe the rest of their lives, in prison.
Now, much of the allegations are in regards to child pornography, inappropriate chats. Do we know if there were any child victims or victims that were children?
We know from the probable cause statement, as it relates to the judge, that there were some alleged conversations with children, one who may have been 13 or 14, another who may have been 16. So we don't have any information that any child was physically harmed, but there seems to have been at least some attempt to communicate with at least two children who are underage by the judge, at least from the probable cause statement and the evidence that we've seen so far.
What does it say? Maybe not about the whole system, but about the situation with the judge allegedly releasing the fire chief on bail, despite the cries from law enforcement to keep him behind bars, and then not allegedly. Again, just allegations disclosing this out loud that he had been in contact with the fire chief prior to the fire chief's arrest. I mean, what does the system do about something like that?
Well, I guess what it's currently doing, Debbie, and that is that neither of these men, if these allegations are true, will ever serve in their professions again. Both of them are or will be in custody for a very, very long time. Neither of them, the judge will certainly never sit on a bench again if these allegations are true. The fire chief will never serve in that capacity. I mean, things like this happen. I don't know that it's the fault of anyone or anybody within that city because, Box Elder County is one of the treasures of our state, and this doesn't reflect on that community at all. But it's got to be shaking that community because two of its leaders are involved in something so horrific.
Do the charges change because it is a judge or because it is a fire chief, leaders in the community?
The charges don't, Dave, but that's a good question because what will change is very likely the punishment. That is to say, a judge who hears these cases or the Board of Pardons who considers these cases will certainly treat them more harshly, more seriously because of their positions. The crimes itself don't take that into account, but Utah has these indeterminate sentences of 1 to 15 or 5 to life, and the Board of Pardons can decide how much of that time they'll ultimately serve, and a judge can decide whether they should or shouldn't go to prison. So these positions that they're in, these high positions they're in, don't affect the charges, but will absolutely affect their ultimate punishment if they're convicted.
Greg Skordas, thank you so much for that insight, our KSL legal analyst.
If you're ready to buy a home or sell a home and you're worried about the current real estate market because of what you've heard from some of your friends or family, well, We're here to tell you that you really shouldn't be worried because now is a great time to buy and sell with our friends at the Stern Team, powered by Omada Real Estate.
And here's why. Buyers have more options due to increased inventory, which gives them the power to negotiate for repairs, interest rate buy-downs, and closing cost assistance. While at the same time, sellers are still getting top dollar for their homes, with home values that are higher today than ever before. So whether you're looking to buy or sell, the current real estate market presents a win-win opportunity for both buyers and sellers.
But you still do want to make sure that you're working with a team of real estate experts you can trust that can get you some great results. And that's our friends at the Stern Team, powered by Omada Real Estate.
They have helped thousands of Salt Lake City homeowners, and they're ready to help you. To get started, just go to thesternteam.com. That's thesternteam.com, or Google The Stern Team.
A special announcement from Dave's Bernina in Provo and St. George.
Dave's Bernina has incredible deals on school machine buybacks, and they won't last long.
Buy a Bernina 1008 for $399, and the Bernina 350 is only $499. Save 50% or more with a 2-year guarantee and free classes on these previously loved machines.
It's time to buy a better machine and get a Bernina.
Save up to 20% off all new Bernina machines.
Take advantage of 20% off Bernina and Burnett presser feet.
1.99% 48-month financing.
The Bernina 735 is discounted and includes thousands of dollars of free accessories while supplies last. Come see the Bernina 990, the most amazing revolutionary sewing machine in the world.
Specially priced and receive over $2,000 worth of free Bernina accessories.
In business since 1960. Dave's Bernina, 691 East St. George Boulevard and 2017 North 550 West in Provo. Dave's Bernina.
Dave'sBernina.com.
Dave and Dujanovic.
This segment of the Dave and Dujanovic Show is brought to you by the Stern Team. If you want to find out your home's true value, it just takes 30 seconds. Visit sternteam.com.
Priced out. Housing. Special coverage with Dave and Dujanovic.
Yeah, we love talking with the Stern Team's Russell Fawcett. We're talking right now about buying new construction. That means, the home that's never been lived in but just got built. I've never purchased a new construction home. I have always bought existing. But Dave, you have bought new construction, and Russ is going to walk us through just a minute the ins and outs, the ups and downs that we need to be watching out for when it comes to new construction.
I'll be honest. I love new. I love new. Everything's new. The dishwasher's new. And then it all comes, at least in my development, it came with a year warranty.
Did it?
So as I had a door kind of settle, as time's gone on in 6 months. So they came in, they readjusted the door. I was able to call them right up. It was so nice. I'll be honest. The new has been great.
Russell Fawcett, owner of the Stern Team of Omada Real Estate, in studio with us this hour, diving into the benefits of new. And Dave just explained one of them. It comes with a 1-year warranty. Is that pretty typical?
Yeah, it is. And that's one of the things that you'll want to understand when going into new construction, though, of what does that warranty cover. We actually still will recommend that someone get a home warranty as well to cover maybe some of the things that aren't covered. But yeah, a lot of builders have very good warranties, and there is that peace of mind of moving in, and if your door sags, they'll come back and take care of it, right?
So what are some of the financial benefits of buying a new home versus an existing home?
Yeah, I would say it probably comes down to the maintenance. Outside of right now, I will say there's a lot of builders offering great incentives and possibly even getting you a lower interest rate. But then on the maintenance side of the actual home, you're going to have less repairs. It's brand new, and so you are going to have upfront less cost of actually owning that home.
So Russell, by the way, we're speaking live right now to the Stern Team's Russell Fawcett. He's the owner of the Stern Team of Omada Real Estate, in studio with us, as you often are. And we're talking about the benefits, the pros, and maybe the cons too, of course, to buying new construction. So I would say one of the downsides and why I've never looked at new construction, and maybe I should have, is I like walking into a home that has all the window coverings usually, and if it's existing, they have the window coverings. I like the yard being installed. I don't have to go in and put in a sprinkler system. But talk about that in terms of new construction. Can you get that when you buy new, Russell, if you ask, or do they offer that?
Yeah, so kind of with new construction, most companies, you walk in and you have a base price. And then you can really add anything that you want, but then it just starts to add up. And especially if you're responding off of, a listing at the base price and you've added in some of the upgrades, that's where, like you said, usually you end up seeing people cut out the blinds, the backyards. And there are some things that the builders honestly don't want to do. They're not in the landscaping business. And so you are going to save by going outside of the builder, but then you can't finance some of those finishes in. So that's where it's like, okay, am I going to finance my upgrades, or can I save a little bit maybe of this isn't something that the builder wants to put in, so I could go hire this done for less expensive, but now you're not building it into your purchase price.
So that was the question I had is what if I go into a new home, new construction, and I want to add some of these things, what can I add in and then roll it into my mortgage payment, and what is not allowed to be able to roll into the mortgage?
Yeah, so really it would come down to anything that's considered personal property. And so even on that, though, you can typically negotiate to get your appliances, and it's still going to, be part of the purchase price. And so at the end, as long as the home appraises, you can pretty much put everything in there, right? And so where you get into it is if you over upgrade your home and now it doesn't appraise for the neighborhood. But your blinds, your backyard, I mean, if you think about buying that existing, it's all going into the loan, right? And so it's what it appraises for is where you would have to be careful if you're upgrading too much for that neighborhood.
So if I agree for $475,000, I put $50,000 in upgrades, you better hope that it appraises for $525,000. And if it doesn't, you're either going to have to make up the difference or scale back on these upgrades.
Correct.
Russell Fawcett in studio with us right now. He's the owner of the Stern team of Amato Real Estate. We're talking about buying new construction. And as a real estate agent, you probably help buyers buy new construction, not just existing homes. And I'm wondering, do you see these builders, are they willing to negotiate the price, or is it like their price is the only price and they won't come down?
Yeah, that's definitely market dependent. And so I would say right now they are more flexible. We have been able to negotiate off of kind of the sticker price. And they are doing a lot more incentives. They want, whether it's finishing basements or buying down interest rates in today's market, builders are definitely willing to work with buyers to get into their product.
Russell Fawcett is joining us right now from the Stern team. We're talking about new construction. Now, let's talk about maybe the downsides of new construction and maybe something that you're looking for and that you would warn people to be careful of.
Yeah, so a couple of the things. First thing I'll talk about is upfront, the difference of earnest money versus deposit with a builder.
Oh, good.
So earnest money, when you're buying existing, typically you have some contingencies, due diligence, financing, where you're able to essentially cancel that contract and get your earnest money back. With builders, it's a deposit. And depending on the contract, that's another thing you want to make sure you understand. There are times when that deposit becomes completely non-refundable, and usually your first deposit is within that first week that you put that money down, and it goes to the builder. You're not getting that back. The other thing that is kind of tough with it as well is that time period. So what we saw when interest rates went from 3 to 4, you can't lock your loan at that time.
Oh.
And so now you're 6 months away, not knowing what your payment is actually going to be. So you may plan on, when you sat down, I'm going to build this, $700,000 home that I can afford today at a 4% interest rate. Well, when those interest rates kicked up to 6%, now all of a sudden you're in a difficult situation because you may not even qualify for that loan. And so that's one of those that you want to understand going in. There is some risk by, waiting having to wait 6 months, 8 months for your home to be finished.
And you always hope that interest rates come down because
Right.
that would lower your monthly payment. But if it goes up, I see where we put up buyers in a pickle. And with existing, if you make an offer, you're usually locking in within a week or two, right?
Right. Yep.
So the rates aren't fluctuating as much generally.
Right. And that's where, as well, kind of that time frame with that deposit, right? If you have a change of life circumstance. Now, if you had bought a home, you're still going to have to face that. But talking about earnest money and deposit is if you have a change of life, a job relocation, something in that 6 months, that deposit's going to the builder.
Does the deposit, if everything goes through, does that end up going toward the price of the home?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, it is applied to the purchase.
Okay. Well, Russell, thank you so much for joining us. Such a great conversation. I don't know if we've talked a lot about new construction and the benefits of buying new construction in the past, so this was a fascinating conversation. Russell Fawcett is the owner of the Stern team of Omada Real Estate, and if you ever want to check out your home's true value, you can do so in just 30 seconds. Visit sternteam.com.
Dave and Dujanovic. Are you asking for Dave and Debbie everywhere?
Just say, Alexa, play KSL News Radio.
And stream them on your phone. The KSL News Radio app.
Hi, this is Congresswoman Celeste Malloy. We all know distant federal agencies don't always work for everyday Utahns, but I do. So if you need assistance taking on the IRS, navigating Social Security claims, or getting answers from any agency, please call my office or visit us online at malloy.house.gov. As your Congresswoman, I'll help you get through the red tape and get the answers you need from the federal government. I'm Celeste Malloy, and it's an honor to be your voice in Washington and to fight for your Utah families.
Paid for by official funds authorized by the House of Representatives.
So let's talk about inspections and new homes. If you have a brand new home, new construction, and you want to buy this house, should you get an independent home inspection as well? We'll bring on Russell Fawcett, owner of the Stern team of Omada Real Estate. Do I need one of those if it's brand new?
Yeah, you do. And I actually recommend that you get 2 inspections. And so the first one, I would actually do it. It's what's called your 4-way. So you get a 4-way walkthrough. And that's before the drywall goes up. So give your inspector an opportunity to look at the plumbing, the electrical, everything that's hidden behind the walls. And then do an inspection at the end as well before your blue tape walkthrough, which is when you get to go in and, pick out things. Have your inspector go through before so that you can bring up all of those items at your blue tape walkthrough for the builder to go and finalize those items.
Russell, having purchased a few homes over my lifetime, I tell you what, if you're going to spend $400,000, $500,000, $600,000 on a home, it's probably going to be your largest purchase likely ever. Having a couple of $100 set aside for an inspection, I think is well worth it. I'm sure you would agree.
Yeah, and the nice thing is builders are typically willing to correct any things they might have missed, right? So spending that $400, most of your repairs are going to be more than the $400 to get that inspected.
Is that usually what it costs, about $400 per inspection?
$400 to $600 is typically normal.
How do you track one down? An inspector?
Yeah, so you can use our app to find the Omada app is a great way to find one, or honestly, Google's a great resource as well. Go read their reviews and find one that you want to work with.
Well, we appreciate you joining us. What a great conversation today about buying an existing home versus buying something with new construction, and buying newly constructed home. Great tips from Russell Fawcett, the owner of the Stern team of Omada Real Estate. If you ever want to check out your home's true value, you can do so in 30 seconds. Just visit sternteam.com.
Oh, could this vintage store be any cuter?
Right? And the best part? They accept Discover.
Accept Discover? In a little place like this? I don't think so, Jennifer.
Oh, yeah, huh? Discover's accepted where I like to shop. Come on, baby, get with the times.
Right, so we shouldn't get the parachute pants?
These are making a comeback. I think.
Discover is accepted at 99% of places that take credit cards nationwide. Based on the February 2024 Nielsen report.
Is that a new Samsung Galaxy A15 5G?
Yeah, I got it for free when I joined Cricket Nation.
Sounds pretty great.
At Cricket, anyone can get a new phone when they switch.
Whoa.
With a high-quality camera, meaning more flattering selfies for all. And super fast 5G, so you can post them for all to see. Your friends, your family, your ex. Free phone! Free phone! Okay, I'll switch. Welcome to Cricket Nation.
Cricket 5G is not available everywhere. Must bring your number to Cricket on a $60 a month voice plan. First month service charge and tax due at sale. Fees, terms, and other restrictions apply. See cricketwireless.com for details.
I'm Dave Cawley, investigative journalist and host of the podcast Cold. In October of 1985, a woman named Cherie Warren left work at a busy Salt Lake City office
to meet her estranged husband at a downtown auto dealership.
She never made it home. Cherie's car surfaced weeks later in Las Vegas.
In the parking lot of a hotel casino.
No one knows how it got there.
Strange. It was strange.
Both Cherie's estranged husband and her boyfriend raised suspicion for investigators.
I kind of thought that he might have done something.
But no arrests were ever made. In Cold Season 3, we dig into double lives, make new connections in the case, and examine the difficulty raised by reasonable doubt.
We want answers just as much as anyone else.
They have creeps like that now too, so nothing's changed.
That's the new Cold Season 3, The Search for Cherie, now available anywhere you get your podcasts.
KSL FM Midvale.
KSL Salt Lake City.
From the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios, this is KSL News Radio.
Utah's news, traffic, and weather station.
11 o'clock at KSL News Radio. I'm Claire Scott. KSL's top story this hour. Police have arrested a Lehigh man who's accused of choking a child at a church volleyball tournament. KSL News Radio's Adam Small has details.
Arrest documents say this happened as a volleyball tournament was wrapping up Saturday at a Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saint meeting house in Lehigh. According to the affidavit of probable cause, 42-year-old Nathan Speaker got angry when a young boy stepped in front of him and knocked the ball away. That's when Speaker allegedly grabbed the boy by the throat, lifted him off the ground before throwing him across the room, causing the boy and one of his own kids to hit heads.
Investigators say Speaker has been convicted of previously choking one of his own children. He's been booked into jail on suspicion of aggravated child abuse. Our top national story this hour from ABC News. The trade war between the U.S. and China is escalating. China has placed an additional 15% tax on American farm products in response to President Trump's decision to double tariffs on Chinese imports.
Multiple reports in Chinese state media saying that Chinese officials have summoned local Walmart executives here in China for a meeting. That's after reports that Walmart was trying to pressure Chinese suppliers to cut prices by 10%, which would essentially kind of be passing on these tariffs. Now, Walmart, we haven't heard from them yet, but just the fact that multiple state media outlets have said this, it could be seen as a warning shot by China to Walmart by calling them out publicly.
ABC's Britt Clennett reporting. Your money at this moment, the Dow is down 74 points, the S&P is up 29. And coming up, 64 and breezy. KSL weather's next. KSL News Time, 11:02.
The sources where we get our news matters.
When you listen to Utah's Morning News, we want you to feel the stories are important to you and trustworthy. This is Amanda Dixon.
And I'm Andy Farnsworth. Join us weekday mornings on KSL News Radio.
If you're ready to buy a home or sell a home and you're worried about the current real estate market because of what you've heard from some of your friends or family, well, we're here to tell you that you really shouldn't be worried because now is a great time to buy and sell with our friends at the Stern Team, powered by Almada Real Estate.
And here's why. Buyers have more options due to increased inventory, which gives them the power to negotiate for repairs, interest rate buy-downs, and closing cost assistance. While at the same time, sellers are still getting top dollar for their homes, with home values that are higher today than ever before. So whether you're looking to buy or sell, the current real estate market presents a win-win opportunity for both buyers and sellers.
But you still do want to make sure that you're working with a team of real estate experts you can trust that can get you some great results. And that's our friends at the Stern Team, powered by Almada Real Estate.
They have helped thousands of Salt Lake City homeowners, and they're ready to help you. To get started, just go to thesternteam.com. That's thesternteam.com, or Google The Stern Team.
Over 3/4 of Americans will experience foot pain, and most will just live with that pain every day. But Foot Solutions in Orem is here to change that. Here's Amanda from Provo.
I am an active woman, ex-Division I basketball player at BYU. By trade, I'm a PE teacher. Over the last 2 years is when my feet really started hurting.
And that's when Amanda's life changed with a visit to Foot Solutions in Orem.
My experience at Foot Solutions was so unique to any other experience I've had. Over an hour they spent with me, really going over my specific pain points.
After discovering so many solutions and custom in-house made orthotics, what does Amanda want you to know?
Invest in your health. Don't be cheap to your feet. Living a pain-free, active life again has been worth every cent.
Just search for Foot Solutions in Orem and find out more at footsolutions.com.
I'm Amanda from Provo. I'm 47 years old, and Foot Solutions has given me back a pain-free, active lifestyle.
Are you in search of a fulfilling career where you can work on a team that provides you room to grow, learn, and thrive every day? Focus Engineering and Surveying is looking for individuals to join their team who take pride in the customer service they provide and have a passion for their clients to be successful. No experience in engineering, CAD design, or surveying? No problem. Focus will train those who fit their team culture for rewarding careers in surveying and CAD design. If you can align with the core ideology and the Focus team culture, if you're internally driven, team-oriented, client-focused, and love personal development and growth, Focus Engineering and Surveying is the place for you. Enjoy a positive work environment and paid internship opportunities, plus fantastic benefits like great health care with 80% employer-paid premium and HSA matched up to $200 per month, 401k, vacation, even annual performance bonuses. Start your journey towards your new and fulfilling career. Apply now at FocusUtah.com. That's FocusUtah.com.
Getting help with electrical repairs is easier than you think. All you have to do is call Any Hour Services or schedule an appointment at anyhourservices.com. No one helps more homeowners than Any Hour Services.
Traffic and weather together, brought to you by Mountain America's low-rate auto loans. Here's Heather Kelly.
We have a pretty good drive all across the Wasatch Front. Just a minor accident reported up in Clearfield. This is on State Street, right about 400 North. It's not causing any delays in that area, but just be aware you could have some emergency crews on the scene. You've got good speeds on I-15, the east and west side belt routes, and 201 freeway. The only thing that may hold you up is construction on Bangor Highway, and especially right now on Mountain View Corridor northbound through South Jordan. Heather Kelly in the KSL Traffic Center.
Sunny skies and a high of 64 today. A storm rolls in tomorrow with rain turning to snow overnight. Temperatures fall back down to the low 40s on Friday. Right now it is 51 and fair. I'm Claire Scott from the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios. Listen online at kslnewsradio.com. We're Utah's news, traffic, and weather station.
Dave and Dujanovic, your morning companions for talk, analysis, and key perspectives on Utah's biggest stories on KSL News Radio. Dave and Dujanovic, special coverage of the top national story.
Well, if you take the shot for weight loss, listen up and hold on to your wallets. You might be paying a couple $100s a month now, but because of things that are going on behind the scenes with the FDA that you probably didn't even know was going on, and the drug makers, Dave's worried you could be soon paying 4 times that amount. So if you're paying a couple $100s a month now, I don't know, $1,000 a month might not be out of the question in short order.
And if I'm one of those folks that are on GLP-1, the injections that help you lose weight, it's kind of the magic drug that helps you lose weight, I am furious right now. I am beside myself because you got me in at $179 a month, and now to stay on it, it's going to cost me $800, $1,000, $1,200.
So what are you worried about? If you have to pay more, and we'll get into the details in just a few minutes about why the price could be going up, are you worried that you won't be able to keep the weight off if you can't afford the drug anymore?
For sure. Number one, you won't be able to afford the drug, so you're going to get off the drug. We know that the drug is problematic in this way. When you go off the drug, you typically gain the weight back. So 2 things. I can't afford it, therefore I'm going to gain all the weight back. And that is infuriating. And many people know this. They know that once I start taking the drug, I have to largely stay on it to keep the weight off. That they've been pretty forthright about that. They've announced that. Everyone knows this, or most people know this, that this is a long-term medication that you will take, kind of a health prevention, prevent you from gaining the weight back. And when you jack up the price 4 times, people just go off it. And then they lose all those benefits without having spent all the money. So you've just wasted all the money.
Were you aware of why these prices might be going up until we started
No.
looking into it today?
No, I will say this. I had no idea why it was so affordable. Why if I go to my doctor and he prescribes me Wegovy, it would cost me $1,000 a month, $800, whatever your insurance plan covers. But it was very, very expensive. I didn't understand why, if you're trying to lose weight through your doctor, it costs you $800 or $1,000. But if you go through one of the spas or a website like Hims that was offering it for $179, I didn't know until today why there was such a disparity in cost.
And that was what I was getting at just a few minutes ago. I bet you a lot of people don't know why it was a couple $100s a month, and
Totally.
why if you look at, for example, like I did this morning, GoodRx online. Last September, they posted information about the weight loss drug. It was specifically about Wegovy, and of course, some of the sister, the brother to these, we've known for years can help control diabetes. But then they also figured out, there's an added benefit to this, and these could lead to weight loss. So they start marketing them for weight loss. But what you probably don't know is that in 2022, like a lot of things we had going on at the time, there's a shortage, right? Remember, there was a shortage for supply chain or for whatever reason, maybe popularity, it just exploded. There becomes a shortage of the drug. And so what happens is that when there's a shortage by FDA rules, pharmacies can make a compounded version of the drug. And well, now they're saying, the drug makers, there's no longer a shortage. And so as a result of that, what's being predicted is that in very short order, the drug makers will now offer these supplies, and therefore the prices will start to go up.
And the big drug makers, so Eli Lilly is the one that produces Zepbound and Mounjaro. Novo Nordisk, they produce Ozempic and Wegovy. So some of these drugs are used for diabetics to help control weight and blood sugar. Others are for fat loss, right? But these two companies, they develop these drugs. I totally understand. Like, you found the magic drug where I can take one shot and I lose a bunch of weight. Like, we've been wanting this magic drug forever. So I'm not surprised that, number one, it was incredibly popular. And there's a huge demand for it. My frustration is there was no disclosure for these companies that were selling this drug for a fifth the cost or a tenth of the cost. The ones that are saying, hey, get on this drug for $179 and you're going to be able to lose weight affordably. This is going to be great for you. There was no disclosure that, oh, and by the way, this price is temporary and you are going to be paying perhaps 5 times the amount at some point.
I would say we're not aware of any disclosure. There may have been something said to the patients as they were meeting one-on-one. You didn't meet with
Perhaps,
these companies.
yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
But I think what you're trying to get at is suddenly people are going to find themselves priced out of this weight loss drug. And I want to get more into that in just a moment, because when we were talking about this earlier, you brought up that this, people who are wealthy can certainly afford probably $1,300 a month, but the people it may hurt the most are the people who just cannot afford that. And they're getting in at the basement price, the bargain basement price of $200 or so a month. But let's first get with ABC News Chief Medical Correspondent Dr. Tara Narula. Because on Good Morning America, I think she did a good job walking the viewers through what patients need to know about the affordability of the weight loss drugs now and why that could be going away really soon.
So when a drug is in short supply, the FDA allows these compounding pharmacies to essentially create copycat drugs. But when the drug companies say we are able to meet the demand, then those compounding pharmacies can no longer sell those drugs on the market. So when we talk about drugs like Wegovy or Mounjaro or Zepbound or Ozempic, these drugs we know have been listed in short supply for the last several years, since 2022. But now the drug companies say we can provide what you need. And so the FDA has basically put an end to the compound pharmacies being able to sell these drugs, and they gave a date. So for state licensed pharmacies, that has to end immediately. When it comes to Zepbound, for outside larger licensing facilities, they have until about March 19th. When it comes to Wegovy, the end for state licensed pharmacies is April of next month, and then the end April 22nd for outside facilities or larger facilities is May 22nd. So, you know, this is all going to affect people who are getting these drugs, usually at a much lower cost and much easier to find.
But what if these people are already taking these compound meds? What do you recommend for that?
Yeah, exactly. So they need to really reach out at this point in time to their healthcare provider or their doctor and ask, you know, for a prescription for the branded drug, and then really look into how they're going to be able to get it and afford it, whether that's through insurance or through outside coupons or what kind of options there are. But, you know, it's important to understand compounded drugs are not generic drugs. They are not FDA approved drugs, so they don't undergo the same testing for quality, safety, or effectiveness. And there can be issues with impurities, with sterility. You don't know if you're getting the right active amount of drug. Is there too much of it, or is there not enough of it in there? So, you know, it is really important to try to get that branded drug, but for a lot of people it is an issue, and it has been, of cost and accessibility.
GLP-1, what is it about this drug?
It's a huge phenomenon. I mean, I see so many patients that are on them. They've really, you know, been able to change their life, and it's been really a remarkable ability for them to kind of reduce both their cardiovascular risk, reduce their weight, but so many Americans are interested in them or taking them now.
Yeah, and using them for different reasons.
Exactly.
All right.
And as we look at people using these drugs for different reasons, it may just be because you want to lose some weight. You know, it's an appearance thing. Other people, it's for health, where you need to lose some weight to get your health under control. It might be used for diabetics. It might be used. We are seeing new research that shows that some of these drugs are beneficial when it comes to alcohol and drug abuse problems, that it may tone down or turn down the volume, so to speak, of some of those cravings and addictions. So it has multiple uses. And when you charge $1,000 a month, and perhaps it is partially covered by insurance or not covered by insurance at all, then it just restricts it to the uber wealthy that can afford the $1,000 a month.
Well, what about other weight loss plans? I mean, there's certainly got to be something else out there that could potentially help people. But I think what I'm hearing you say is this one is so effective but not for everybody. We heard from Amy in the 9 o'clock hour when we were talking about this. She called into the show and said she's lost 80 pounds on it. She was diagnosed with diabetes, and so she got a prescription for it. And then they thought, well, why not? Maybe my husband should try the compounded version of it for weight loss. And she said he hasn't lost anything. But for some, it is effective. So I think what I'm hearing you say is that it's just so effective that they should sell it for a couple $100 a month, even though it looks like the price might be going up a lot more. I mean, what's the solution here?
Yeah, I don't know what the solution is, right? Because you've got these drug manufacturers that are producing this. It's their research and development. Here's my frustration with it costing $1,000. This is not brand new medicine. This is medicine that has been around. Ozempic, for example, has been around for years and years and has been used specifically for diabetes, because what it does is it slows down the digestion, slows down your stomach when you eat something. So it processes your food slower. It makes you feel full longer. And then when it processes it slower, then your insulin won't spike. So that's very good for diabetics. The only reason they found out this is a weight loss drug is because of the diabetics. What they were finding out is, wow, not only is your insulin spike slowed, but you're losing weight. I wonder why that is. And it was a side effect. And sometimes we think of side effects as negatives, but this was just one of those positive side effects, that you would help control your diabetes and then you would also lose weight. So this is a drug that has been studied, that had been patented for many, many years. Well, now we're just using it and say it's basically the same drug, different dosage, but same drug. And we're saying, oh, well, it's a brand new patent. Well, is it really? Is it? It's the exact same drug, just in different dosages do you really get a brand new patent? We don't have. That means we don't have a generic version, and generic versions are more affordable.
I can't even speak to the patent issue because I'm not familiar with how that all works. We could maybe eventually get an expert on the air and that. But I was reminded, Dave, when you were talking about the effects of this, the injections. We talked to remember Nick. Dave, do you remember Nick?
Yeah.
We talked to him when you and I sat down and did a 1 hour long special on this. At the time, it felt new, dieting by design. It aired in the fall of 2023. And Nick called in, because he's a diabetic who is experiencing weight loss because of the shot that he was taking for his diabetes.
I lost 20 pounds in about 3 months. It didn't seem like I was losing it at first, but then all of a sudden my clothes were loose. I had to buy new clothes. I get about 900 calories a day.
Now, okay, so he was eating 900 calories a day. And I remember at the time, your eyes were like, how do you even feel good on that? And remember, he was having some side effects from it, right? Like he just felt like maybe a little, at times was a little forgetful, maybe not getting enough calories, but that he was able to sustain at 900 calories, at least to lose a significant amount of weight. And that's what you were talking about. That's what I thought about when you were saying, oh, this drug has helped so many. And we've known about this because of the impact that it's had on diabetes and insulin, and that it slows down, our stomachs. It takes away that. I think it's this awful food noise that I'm sitting here right now going, I wonder what's in the newsroom that I can eat. Is there somebody got candy on their desk? Can I borrow a piece of chocolate today?
Donut.
It takes that away. And for that reason alone, it sounds like it's a miracle drug. And Dave and I talking about this because of this FDA decision or rule that's going to be rolled back. That means that compounding pharmacies will not be able to compound this weight loss drug going forward. It'll kind of roll out over the next couple of months. And so what you might notice if you're on one of these shots for weight loss, the price that you're paying now might go up and up and up.
And people will go off and off and off the drug, and they will gain it back. The problem is there was no disclosure, right? So we didn't realize that this was an introductory offer. For example, if you were to take out a loan and there was this incredible teaser rate, that's literally what they call it. They call it a teaser rate in the loan in the loan department. Where like, oh, you're only going to be paying 2% for the first year on this loan. Well, if it jumps up to a 15% loan after the first year, we need to know that. And that's my frustration with these compound pharmacies is I don't think there was a good enough disclosure that says, hey, we're going to get it to you for $179 right now or $350, whatever it might be. We're going to get it to you for a bargain right now, but this is a teaser rate. Eventually, we expect to not be able to offer this same drug, this compound, and it's going to jump up. Well, that changes the way people look at taking these medicines, right? If you're going to take it for 6 months and then it jacks up, and it sounds like it will in the next month or so, go back to the name brand drugs, then that changes how people would have addressed this in the first place.
What's your price point? Like, what prices you out of a drug like this? If just for example, if you were on it or somebody you love, what is that price point where like, I'm out, I can't do this anymore? Is it $300 a month? Is it $400, $500? What's that price point?
Yeah, $200 right now. That seems like something that is doable, right? If you start getting up to the $400 or $500, I can't justify that. I mean, you're talking about thousands of dollars a year. If you're talking about a couple $1,000s a year in total versus $5,000 or $6,000 a year or $12,000 a year, yeah, that absolutely prices me out. So I think this $200 a month is probably the price point for a lot of people. And if it starts doubling, tripling, quadrupling, then they're just going to be out.
You think by the time it gets to $400 or $500, there's no way. I would imagine, given everything, the price of everything has gone up so significantly. that for people who are currently taking this and are facing the higher prices, it probably feels like one more thing. One more added expense to an already stretched family budget. But a lot of people would have argued, and I've seen this, that the real way to lose weight and keep weight off is not through specific diet plans, but through lifestyle. And in fact, we just got a text from Dr. Mark Greenwood, and I asked him to call the show. Good morning, Dr. Greenwood.
Good morning.
We got about a minute and a half, and what you texted was the only safe and effective long-term solution to weight loss is lifestyle change, diet and exercise. Expand on that.
Happy to. Thank you. I just think there's a big part of the dialogue around the weight loss these days and the focus on the drug that's being missed. And I appreciate the allure, like the quick fix and the easy solution. And I wish that were true. My clinical and personal experience over 20 years now, including having lost 50 pounds myself and kept it off for 15 years with diet and exercise, is that drugs are a fool's gold, if you will. They don't produce sustainable weight loss. They work short term while you take them, but just like the fen-phen 20, 30 years ago, at some point you come off the drug, and when you do, you go back to your baseline habits and the weight comes back. So the only thing that ends up really being lighter long term is your wallet. And I also, just like the fen-phen, worry about the safety of this long term. What are the unintended consequences? The cancers, gastroparesis, who knows, that we're going to be dealing with in the years down the road from folks taking these drugs. So the true, safe, cost-effective method is to eat less and exercise more. And eat better.
It sounds so simple, but boy, I don't know why that's so hard for us. But Dr. Greenwood, thank you so much for joining us. Mark Greenwood, family medicine doctor. Thanks for calling in.
Yeah, I think it is hard for some people, though. The less you eat or the more whole foods you eat, it just feels like you feel like you should be rewarded more than you are with weight loss. And I found myself in that same exact spot over the years, up and down, and the scale's down, and now it's up. And but we'll have to see where this goes in terms of pricing, and we should know within the next couple of weeks, within the next few weeks, how much more people will be paying for this weight loss injection, and we'll keep an eye on that here.
Do you need new windows? Look, all glass pretty much looks the same to the naked eye, but if your windows aren't triple-coated, argon-filled and sealed double-pane glass, the cold is seeping in. You need to call Advanced Window Products. They use the highest quality glass and premium vinyl to create state-of-the-art windows and frames, and for 38 years, they build those frames right here in Utah. Custom crafted for Utah's climate. The best windows you can buy at prices 30 and 40% less than what the big companies charge because they cut out the middleman. They're the factory. They even give you a lifetime warranty, and right now as we head into spring, save an extra $2,500 off 10 windows or more. Custom windows that'll give your house a fresh new look and save you money on your heating and air conditioning. Advanced Windows offers 60-month 0% financing, even buy now, pay later, and an extra $2,500 off. Call for a quote, 801-850-9100. That's 801-850-9100, or go to advancedwindows.com.
These days, losing weight is such a roller coaster. You try the new medications, and when you stop taking them, you gain it all back.
Today is a new day.
Today is a new day.
Today is a new day.
Let Soda Weight Loss teach you the healthy, natural way to let go of the weight for good.
Do you know how good it feels to let go of 51 pounds of belly fat? And I did it without drugs, shots, or hunger. Because Soda Weight Loss works. Just look at all the Google reviews and all the thousands of before and after pictures.
For a limited time, 2 people can start with Soda Weight Loss for the price of 1.
What does that mean? It's more fun?
Double the motivation, double the results, half the cost.
The best decision I've made in a long time was just to call Soda Weight Loss.
Take advantage of Soda Weight Loss 2-for-1 partner program. Visit sodaweightloss.com. That's SOTA weightloss.com. Soda is, say it with me, state of the art.
At JCW's, we think tipping might be getting a little out of hand. Like when you're asked to tip at the register before you've even been served. Or when you're at the yogurt shop and find yourself serving yourself. And don't even get us started on frosted tips making a comeback. That's why at JCW's, when you pay for a 3rd-pound ranch bacon cheeseburger, that's what you pay. And no one at the register is going to stare longingly at you while you awkwardly maneuver through the tip screen for food you don't even have yet. Honestly, we're just happy to see you at any of our 5 locations in Provo, South Jordan, Lehigh, Harriman, and American Fork. So come on in and enjoy some quality time and great food with family and friends. And we promise, we won't be pushing you for a tip.
Hey, this is Chris with JCW's, and we just want to say thank you, and especially to our loyal customers. We want you to know that at JCW's, your business is all the tip we need. JCW's, quality and a lot of it.
Jackson Hewitt wants you to save money on tax prep. We're saving money by having our intern rap in this commercial.
Don't stress, Jackson Hewitt's got expert tax prep, 149 or less. Yo, some tax guys lie about price. What? They got hidden fees, that ain't nice. Ain't nice. Don't ignore MC Kevin's rhyme, cause this deal's for a limited time. 149.
For tax prep that's $149 or less, hurry into Jackson Hewitt today.
No cap.
Limited time offer for new clients on federal returns. Participating locations only. Terms at jacksonhewitt.com/149.
What if your limited inventory had unlimited potential? What if your biggest risk was not taking one? What if you could make every move matter? Bank of America's Business Solutions can help bring your biggest what-ifs within reach. Find out how our digital tools, cutting-edge insights, and trusted expertise can work for your business. What would you like the power to do? Visit bankofamerica.com/banking for business to learn more. Bank of America is proud to be the official bank sponsor of FIFA World Cup 2026.
11:30 at KSL News Radio. I'm Jessica Lowell. KSL's top story this hour. A South Jordan man has been arrested accused of peeking into stalls in the women's restroom at Fashion Place Mall. 2 women reported being spied on earlier this year on different days. 29-year-old Anthony Wynn could now face 2 voyeurism charges. We're now learning more details about a former fire chief and a judge in Box Elder County, both arrested, accused of sharing child pornography online. Now investigators say the cases are linked and the 2 are accused of having chats online where they discussed abusing kids. This woman lives across the street from former fire chief Ned Hansen, and she watched when a SWAT team showed up to arrest him.
I would say 15 to 20 police officers in full SWAT gear.
We now know Judge Kevin Christensen was overseeing Hansen's case and let Hansen out on bail before Christensen was also accused of sharing child pornography. Our top national story this hour from ABC News, a surprise election result in Greenland as President Trump eyes the resource-rich country.
The center-right Democrat Party winning the most votes in Greenland's parliamentary elections. Their leader had previously said Greenland is not for sale. This comes as U.S. President Trump has said he wants to take control of the island one way or another. The Democrats did not win a majority, meaning they'll likely have to form a coalition government. It was a pro-U.S. party that came in second, recording its best results ever in Tuesday's vote. That party wants a snap referendum on independence and closer ties to the U.S. Inez de la Cuetara, ABC News, at the Foreign Desk.
Your money at this moment. The market's making a little bit of a headway on a recovery. Dow up 109 points. S&P's gained 52 and NASDAQ up 289 points. Coming up, the warm weather before the storm. KSL weather is next. KSL News Time, 11:32.
Mornings are for recharging.
And they're for starting your day right.
We volunteer to join you in the car. Get news and weather at 102.7 FM during the most important part of your day.
Andy and Amanda, each morning between 5 and 9 on KSL News Radio.
One of the great things about Renaissance Ranch is if you have a family member that is struggling with addiction, you're not alone. They want to help the entire family, not just the folks that are struggling, because they know when you have an entire family involved or you have a loved one involved, the chances, research shows, of a positive outcome skyrocket when everybody's involved.
Yeah, you do not want to lose yourself in your loved one's addiction. And that's where Renaissance Ranch can really help. They offer these free online classes. In fact, it's easy to log on to them. There are different topics. You can do this in the comfort of your own home. Maybe you're sitting in the kitchen and you can jump on one of these Zoom classes and really feel connected to people who understand what you're going through.
And you can participate or you can just listen. Whatever you want to do, there's lots of different classes that are out there, some for spouses, for parents, a women's support group. There's a couples recovery group.
Yeah, and this concept is excellent. Think about it. You're just leaving work one night, and maybe you want to jump on one of these Zoom classes, and you just open the windows, sit in your car, put your AirPods in and listen in, and then you go home feeling like, you've learned a lot and there is help out there for you too. So super easy to figure out how many classes they're offering. All you need to do is go to their website.
RenaissanceRanch.com. Just check them out at RenaissanceRanch.com.
Traffic and weather together brought to you by Mountain America's low-rate auto loans. How are the roads looking, Ricky Meese?
Looking pretty good right now. If you are traveling any of the Salt Lake County freeways, it's a nice and quiet drive. And if you happen to be on I-15, no problems either direction between Willard Bay and Utah Lake. And the earlier crash that we had on Main Street in Davis County at 260 North, that's in the cleanup stages with no other problems. Our 100th spring is right around the corner, and Murdoch Hyundai can help you take those curves in style. Right now, receive 2.99% for 6 years on the Tucson, Santa Fe, Elantra, or Sonata. Ricky Meese in the KSL Traffic Center.
Winds are picking up today as a storm rolls into the Wasatch Front. Gusts could reach up to 35 miles an hour. Tomorrow we'll have valley rain and mountain snow. By tomorrow night, we could see some valley snow. Right now, it's 52 degrees and windy. I'm Jessica Lowe from the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios. Listen online at kslnewsradio.com, or Utah's news, traffic, and weather station.
Dave and Dujanovic, your morning companions for talk, analysis, and key perspectives on Utah's biggest stories on KSL News Radio.
This is all about Dave right now, and this is Dave's Downer concert moment. But I think there's some interesting strategy embedded in what we're going to talk about. Dave went to the Heart concert very recently. When did you go, Dave?
Saturday night?
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Saturday.
I know Heart quite well. They were big in the 80s. But Dave
the 80s? They've been big for 50 years, Debbie. What do you mean? Like, that one-hit wonder Heart. This is Heart. Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, Ann and Nancy
fabulous.
Wilson.
Yeah, they are fabulous. But they were big when I was in high school, and that's what. But that song throws me back to the 80s. But you walked away disappointed from the concert, and I was so surprised to hear this. So tell us what's going on.
Okay, can I qualify walk away disappointed a little bit? Okay, so this has been every concert in the history of forever. You always walk away like, oh, they didn't play that song, right? That's naturally going to happen. But let me just say this. We have become so good at disclosing information. So, for example, if I want to go and I want to buy Heart tickets, which, by the way, $160 a pop. I had good seats. I'm down on the floor on 25 feet back or 25 rows back. I had great tickets. But if you go and you buy tickets, they're going to tell you how much the ticket costs, how much fees are going to be. It just tells you straight up front, this is how much the tickets are going to cost you. Full disclosure, if you want it, go ahead and buy it. Why don't they provide the set list? These are the songs we're going to play. This is the order we're going to play them. Do you still want to go? Because I will absolutely say there are concerts that I've been to where they don't play the most obvious song. It'd be like Billy Joel not playing Piano Man. If he didn't play Piano Man, I'm not buying tickets to Billy Joel.
Now, I did not go to the concert, so let me just quiz you a little bit. Did they play this song?
Last song they played. Yeah, I mean, if you don't play Barracuda, there's going to be riots. There's going to be a mosh pit. Yeah, you got to have Barracuda.
How about this song?
Oh, Nothing at All? Total hit. Yeah, they can't miss that one, can they? Oh, sure they can. They didn't play Nothing at All.
How about this song? One of my all-time favorites.
Yeah. Nope, they didn't play that song either. Like, this is the stuff that is routinely in the rotation in classic rock stations. So I want to know why instead of nothing at all or all I want to do I get this? Baby Lestrange. I mean, come on. What are we doing here? Who's selecting these?
Well, and I think to the larger question, why don't they publish the set list before they pop into a city and take the stage and you spend $160 a pop on tickets, right? I mean, You're wondering why that's not a thing? John Smith of the Arrow.
Hola.
Hi.
Hey,
Thank
kids.
you for walking downstairs and joining this conversation.
We're actually talking about rock and roll. We're not talking about hockey or fire. This
That's
is great.
Right. So set Dave straight, or at least answer his question on what you know about set list publication before they pop into Salt Lake City.
Dave, buddy.
Okay. All right. Tell it justified Dreamboat Annie.
Listen, man, you got to let it go. You got to let yourself feel the vibe of the concert. Baby the Strange is a great song. That song rocks, dude. And the fact that they're putting that like right at the opener, so many Heart fans have never heard that song because they're only listening to Spotify or Pandora. They're not listening to the albums. They're not listening to the radio. I'm sorry, I'm getting wild.
Is this a thing though? Publishing set lists?
No,
Dave would like it to be.
And here's why. Here's why they do it. One, they like to surprise you. Right? If you know when they're going to play Barracuda, if you know they're playing Barracuda very, very last, you're going to show up late, right? They want your butt in the seat so you can hear Little Queen and Love Alive and, whatever other deep tracks they were playing second and third. But, they usually put the better songs towards the end. And then they mix in a couple of Led Zeppelin covers. Which
There are Led Zeppelin.
Oh, man.
Okay. Can I say something about the Led Zeppelin covers?
Yeah, of course.
There are 9,000 Led Zeppelin covers that I can rock out to, and you think I know anything about the ocean?
Yeah, that was a bit strange.
A deep cut from another rock and roll, unbelievable,
but a great song. But see, here's the thing: if you release that set list before, one, you're going to be disappointed before you go, and you're not going to buy a ticket, right?
Okay,
you can't.
That's the problem, John. You just described the problem. If you don't have enough trust in your set list that I'm still not going to buy it, maybe the problem's not with Dave Noriega. Maybe the problem is with your set list.
Dave,
I disagree with both of you. At least with you, John, on this directly, that if I see the set list, I am going to become like the biggest fan of those songs. I'm going to learn all the words if I haven't heard them.
There you go. That's true.
Yeah, and I do that with concerts, right? It's like 2 days in advance I start queuing up the music
You're
for
doing
that
your
particular
homework.
artist. Yeah, and I start listening, getting in the zone.
I've got a life hack for you.
What is it?
I have got a way for you guys to get the set list before you go to the show, and this is a deep, dark industry secret. I will likely be drawn and quartered for revealing this. But
Taking notes?
There is a way. If you go to setlist.fm, you will not only see the set list for every band and every show that has ever come to Salt Lake City or any other venue ever, and I'm talking all the way back to the 1980s, 1970s even. You want to see bands that played at the Terrace Ballroom. You want to see what Heart played here when they came in 1979. They have this at setlist.fm. Now, what you do is you find out where they played last night because the tour is likely going to follow the same set list night after night after night. So there you go.
That's
you will
the life
know
hack.
in advance. That's your life hack.
See, and I think that would be like for me finding out the sex of a child before they're born, right?
Mhm.
I mean,
some people like it, some people don't.
Right. I mean, some people want the big gender reveal with, I don't know, parachuters jumping out of planes and throwing pink or blue, baby powder all
you
over
want to peek
the
at
earth.
the Christmas present before you
Yeah, and then some people just don't want to have any idea at all, and they're like, everything you buy me everything, just buy it in green because we don't want to know. We had this actually happen with my son and I. We went to a Kenny Chesney concert a few years ago. And my son grew up listening in the car with me to Kenny Chesney. We knew all of the songs, or so we thought. Until we got done with the concert, we started packing up the blanket, and my son stated what I was thinking, and he stated the obvious. He's like, I didn't recognize a lot of those songs. And I'd waited 30 years to go to that concert. Yeah, to catch up with Kenny Chesney. Big country artist certainly started in the 90s when I was actually in country radio for a short time. So it was a big deal to me to take my son. And I'm like, I'm sorry, I don't know what to do about that. Even my son noticed, like, we didn't know a lot of the songs
But
he
did
sang.
they have fun? Did they enjoy the show?
We had a good time.
See, there
Oh
you
yeah, we just like being, we like being together and being at the USANA Amphitheater. So it was a blast. But I wonder what the question is, Dave, that you want to ask our listeners to call in about. Does it ruin the experience, the concert, if you know the set list?
Yeah, does knowing the set list ruin the concert experience? Because we got Mr. Purist over here, John Smith. I want to talk to his co-host Sam Blake. You know John and Sam on the Arrow.
Yeah.
Sam, I want to get your perspective on this because, listen, if you are a purist and if you are the expert of experts, which you guys certainly are, especially in this genre, right? Classic rock, hard, all the words, everything, okay? Obviously, you might enjoy these deep cuts. But for the casual fan, someone that knows, a lot of songs, maybe not Baby Lestrange, right? Maybe they don't know that one from 1973 or whenever that came out. 77, you nerd. Okay, does it ruin the experience? And here's the problem with your set. Okay, when we come back, I'll tell you the problem with your setlist.fm solution, John and Sam. Let's hear. Maybe you guys are cut from the same cloth. Maybe I'm the crazy one that shelled out $320 in concert tickets to miss some of their best songs.
We'll take your live calls as well. 801-575-TALK. Do you want to peek at the set list before you go to the concert? Your calls next.
This is Derek Miller speaking on business. Common Spirit Health has been a cornerstone of compassionate healthcare in Utah, providing exceptional care across the Wasatch Front. With a focus on innovation and collaboration, they are committed to improving community health for the future. Utah Market President Jeremy Bradshaw joins us with more.
At Common Spirit Health, we make the healing presence of God known in our world by improving the health of the people we serve. This year, we proudly celebrate the 150th anniversary of the Sisters of the Holy Cross arriving in Utah, where they established Holy Cross Hospital. Their legacy of human kindness and compassionate care lives on today through our 5 Common Spirit Holy Cross hospitals along the Wasatch Front. As Utah's population continues to grow rapidly, we are committed to shaping the future of healthcare in the state. We focus on providing innovative care, including state-of-the-art orthopedic and spine procedures, cutting-edge heart and stroke care, and top-tier neurosciences. Our new clinical alliance with the University of Utah Health will further enhance access to world-class medical care for our patients close to home. We invite you to learn more about our vision for a healthier future for all at mountain.commonspirit.org.
Common Spirit Health is committed to expanding access to quality health care, focusing on innovation and collaboration to address the evolving needs of the communities they serve. Their vision includes advancing care through strategic partnerships and pioneering medical advancements for all. I'm Derek Miller with the Salt Lake Chamber, speaking on business.
Get a head start on the warmer months ahead with a $29 AC tune-up from Yes Air Conditioning, Heating, Plumbing, and Electric. Yes offers licensed technicians and an exceptional service guarantee to give you peace of mind and help prevent expensive breakdowns. Ensure your system is working at peak efficiency and help save money on energy costs with a $29 AC tune-up from Yes Air Conditioning, Heating, Plumbing, and Electric. Call now or visit theyesmancan.com for details, terms, and conditions. Just say yes.
Dave and Dujanovic.
Dave leaving the Heart concert a wee bit disappointed when they didn't play some of his favorite songs. Dropped $160 a ticket just to hear songs like that and nothing at all, huh,
Okay,
Dave?
and how about this? The best Heart song in the history of the world? They medleyed it. They cut it in half and medleyed it. What is going on? What concert producer is looking at this and being like, you know what we could do with Alone? The greatest song you've ever produced that brings a tear to my eye. How about we medley that bad boy? Let's just cut it in half.
We're talking about whether a set list should be published. John from the Arrow, John Smith from the Arrow, and Sam in studio with us as well. Hi, Sam. Hey, can we get Sam's microphone on there, Don? Don's working on the mic in the control room. Got it? Can we?
We're going to get to you eventually. There's a lot of microphones here.
She's going to scoot over to John's microphone. What do you think about this idea that Dave came up with, that he wants the set list published when he buys his tickets?
Okay, you can't get mad at me.
Okay.
Poor prep work on your part. This is what it comes down to. If you're going to this concert, you have spent that amount of money on your tickets. Why are you not getting out every one of their albums and listening to it on repeat before you go so that you're not surprised like that? And then also, if you're such a big Heart fan that you're spending this money, what great moment would it be when they're like playing one of those deep tracks and you just start belting it and you are the only one? Like, you wanted that moment in Alone. You could have had that with no one else singing with you if you would have done the prep work.
We love Sam.
See why I keep her around?
We love Sam. We'll keep her in the building forever. Oh, Sam, amazing take. Dave is speechless. He has to agree with you.
See, that's a good point.
801-575-TALK. I want to get to the phone lines right now. Hi, Rich.
How you guys doing today?
We haven't heard from you in so long, but I listen to your son almost every day.
Well, we appreciate that. We're certainly glad that Salt Lake and Utah has embraced them as well as they do.
Yep.
So we appreciate your support.
Well,
and
we
everything
love
for
Post.
that.
We love Post Malone.
Yeah,
so what do you think about this discussion?
So I think having been as close to it now, it's an excellent discussion. And the truth is, even before Austin was famous, I would do the setlist.fm thing, any concerts I would go to, so that I wouldn't be surprised. And I think that the Ravenous fans usually really do want to know what the artist is going to play, because it will give them the mood of the show, the highs, the lows, what they're going to be in for with the roller coaster of emotions. And typically it's the casual fan that would be surprised and not necessarily care about what the set list is going to be.
Now, I love the hardcore fans. And if I'm an artist, I want that fan that knows every one of my tracks, the deep cuts, knows all the lyrics. But I fear that when we play deep cuts, that it alienates perhaps the more casual fan. Is that something that yeah.
That's very true. Austin was over in Australia opening. It was a co-headline tour with Red Hot Chili Peppers, and they ended up having to change their set list based on fan feedback. Too many deep tracks, too many things that weren't the hits, and not to be braggadocious about my son or diss on the Red Hot Chili Peppers, because obviously they're an iconic band, but people go to get like the greatest of, right? It's usually a more intimate setting, like maybe if you're at the Grand Ole Opry doing the 100th anniversary, which, by the way, my son will be doing next week.
Awesome.
Where they play a song that you might not typically have heard before, to get a little bit of wow factor or a little bit of the emotion of the moment, and not necessarily the group mentality of let's all have this kumbaya moment where we revel in with each other, enjoying our artist's favorite songs.
We're on the line live right now with Post Malone's dad, Rich. And we so appreciate you listening to the show and calling in. And this
I love you guys. I get so mad when you're on vacation, because I'm like, oh my God, my day sucks.
Thank you so much. That
Rich,
means
if
so
I'm being
much,
totally
Rich.
honest, Rich, deep down in my heart, when I pitched this story, the best case scenario was you calling in.
Yeah.
It was my hope of hope, because I'm like, all I want is Rich's take on this, and I love that you called in.
So do you agree with Dave at the end of the day that the set list should be posted like right next to his ticket purchase?
I do. I think it's just something that I do. I agree with Dave that it should be. Yeah.
Yeah. Well,
if Posty's dad says it, guess what? It's gospel. It is gospel.
Well, I appreciate you putting so much credit in what I have to say. But I love you guys. I love listening to your station, and don't take any more vacations.
You're so amazing. And guess where I'll be at the end of April? I'll be at your son's concert.
April 29th. Maybe we'll run into each other.
I hope so. I had a friend message me a couple of months ago and ask if I wanted one of her tickets. And I'm like, wanted? Yes, I want. So I'll see you guys out there. Thanks so much, Rich. Love Love the
Thank
fact
you
that
so
you
much. Have a
called
great
in
day.
and sharing your insights as Post Malone's dad. I mean, one of the most famous musicians and artists in the world. His dad listens to the show.
I've
Dave,
got my set list
and
for
he
today.
agrees with you.
I've got my set list for today. It's all posty all day. All day it's going to be posty. So, Sam and John, thank you. So, okay, final thought. Sam, John, you guys both listen to this. Have you been swayed at all? Or are you hardcore rocking nerdos? Are you still hanging on like, no, you got to be there and just experience the surprise?
Music is life, brother. If you're a fan of the band, go be a fan of the band.
Be there, be present, and I just have to disagree.
Yeah, I make a whole day of it, or 2 days of it, or a week of it.
It's part of the ritual of
Yeah.
like going into a concert.
If I'm going to be dropping any money at all, like I want to know everything I can know about. I mean, in fact, I'm going to research. I'm going to Wikipedia the world out of the band. Like, and if you Wikipedia Heart, you know that they started before Dave was born, so they are probably going to have a lot of hits. that
Sam,
Dave
I've been
didn't grow up
appropriately
listening to.
chastised. I've learned a valuable lesson. This one falls on me. I gotta do more research. Now, you didn't address the fact that they've produced 8 billion songs, and it would take me basically nonstop 24-hour listening to Heart. But that's fine. That's fine. My bad. My fault. I didn't listen to enough.
Early.
Their 50-year career, I didn't get, BB Lestrange.
It's a great song.
John, one last time.
Yeah.
What's that website you were talking about earlier?
Setlist.fm.
Setlist.fm.
Yeah.
And you can go and track what the set list is for upcoming concerts.
You can search by band, venue, or even city and see all the way back.
Awesome. Well, you guys are the highlight of our show. But I have to tell you, Rich Post Malone's dad calling in. Okay, that might very well trump the two of you.
I think my mom would agree with you.
Okay, all right. So let's go out on this song.
Did he play this one?
Post Malone can play any song he wants. I am not going to be watching for the set list at all. I'll just be there at the end of April to soak it all up.
Bravo!
Dave and Dujanovic. Are you asking for Dave and Debbie everywhere?
Just say, Alexa, play KSL News Radio.
And stream them on your phone. The KSL News Radio app.
Hey, one of the things I love about Mountain Home Services is they joined an incredible company. They brought in Master Electrical Service, and that means they have expertise in so many different places.
Yeah, you could use them